The episode you're about to hear was executive produced by Catherine Kepsel. Thank you so much, Catherine, for going to patreon.com and sponsoring this episode and selecting the movie that I am about to find out. Thanks so much.
Totes Recall.
Welcome to Totes Recall, the podcast where we talk about a movie we can't remember very well. We pause the recording, eat 2 pizzas, 2 salads. Thank you, patrons. Watch the movie of which we talked. Mm-hmm. Then pause the eating and come back to the recording. And now we talk again, and we now know about the movie that we watched. My name is Dan.
This is Molly.
I'm also Dan.
And I'm Beth.
And our movie, this very special extra-sode, is Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I mean,
blah.
Wow.
Yes, thank you, Catherine, for this movie. This is a movie that came out in the 90s, I think. Here's what's... I'm going to take you down memory lane.
Great.
I've seen this movie.
I've also seen this movie.
Braggy.
Thank you. I watched this movie on a VHS where the color was kind of going in and out. But mostly what I remember is I was in junior high school and it was a bunch of people and I was sort of spooning a girl.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Not a lot of room on the couches, so...
You know how it goes.
We were close enough where it was sort of spooning. And that's mostly what I remember.
Do you remember anything about the actual movie?
No, I was pretty focused on being nervous about how our bodies were.
Like wiping the flop sweat off your brow. And
Yeah, you're like, oh my God, this is happening.
being like really, really self-conscious of where your hands are.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So,
Great.
So that would have been...
So you enjoyed the movie?
So I enjoyed the movie immensely. But if it was already on VHS by the time I was in like 7th grade...
Spooning age, yeah.
I'm going to say it came out in like 93.
Okay.
Yeah.
That for me would have been the year after I graduated from high school.
Nice.
And that would have been a year where I would have not paid any attention to this movie. So that seems likely because I have not seen it.
Probably too busy spooning at that age.
Oh, yeah.
College
I mean,
spooning.
I was getting a
Post-college
PhD in spooning, am I right? Actually, I was not.
No, you have not seen it then.
Oh, yeah. No, I haven't seen it.
Are you doubling Dan on 93?
Oh, I'm supposed to. Oh, that's why
right.
you were pausing. You were waiting for me to make a. I'm going to say the 90s.
No, come on.
Can't do a whole decade.
All right. 92.
Oof. Hot bet.
Hot bet.
Hot bet, good bet. I have seen this movie, but I think I saw it as an adult because I think I had read the book recently, and I'm pretty sure I watched it with my wife. No big deal.
Wow.
But
Spooning?
what?
Spooning?
Oh, that is personal.
I mean, maybe with the dog. I don't know. Dog's usually up on the couch at that point. And
right.
takes up a lot of space, so maybe accidental spooning with the dog, sure. But yeah, I remember this movie. I remember the advertisements for this movie when I was a youngin'. Because it was a pop cultural phenomenon because pretty people from that era were in it.
Yeah. Stacked cast.
Is it Brad Pitt?
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
I'm going to guess, to be spicy, 94. It's not that spicy, but it's later.
Yeah.
So
I have no idea what year it came out. I don't know anything about this movie except for a couple things.
let's hear them.
So, okay, here's what I know about it.
Great.
Oh, should we do...
Oh, I think we should.
The pre-sum?
Two questions.
I don't know if
Do
I have
you want to
60
say a year?
Yes,
And
I
do
do.
you want to do a 60-second pre-summary with Molly?
I'm
With
going to
Mom,
say 95.
Hell
Ooh.
yes.
Complete the
That's a
run.
spicy bet.
I'm just counting upward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I love it.
it.
Yep.
Great. Let's go, Beth and Molly, 60 seconds on the clock.
Mm-hmm.
What do you know about this movie? Dan, count them off.
Oh, I'm counting them off? Where do I start?
We've never done that before.
No,
Three,
we've never done
2, 1,
Okay.
go.
3, 2, support unions. 1, go.
I honestly, there's a Dracula. I
Great.
think Gary Oldman plays him, maybe.
Great.
That was a pretty person in the 90s?
I don't know.
I didn't see the whole cast was pretty people in
Okay.
the 90s.
Probably
But also,
there's
why are
a
you so disparaging on
human that Dracula knows for some reason.
Is there a lady?
And
Does
there's
it take place in Transylvania?
Mina.
Why are you
Is it
asking? You're
Mina,
supposed to be
his wife?
summarizing.
Mina's wife?
Isn't Mina Dracula's
Mina
wife
Sorvino?
or
This is
something?
amazing.
I don't know. Then he's got weird
30
like,
seconds.
butt hair.
Is this an episode of The Sopranos?
Who has butt hair?
Dracula.
Oh, okay.
His hair is like it's like two.
Does he wear a cape? He wears a cape.
He wears a cape.
He turns into a bat. He lives in a
there's-
coffin.
There is a castle.
It's moody.
It's in Transylvania.
It's too long.
10 seconds.
Then he kills somebody with his vampire teeth.
Everyone has American accents? Or
There's a
sort
prison.
of faintly British?
There's probably a prison at some
The
point.
Time.
crowd storms the castle.
Wow.
Yeah,
That was
pretty good, huh?
incredible.
Pretty good. Not only is this a famous movie, which you haven't seen, it's also a very famous book.
Very famous.
And
I've
a
never read
a
it.
story
You
that's been
should.
made.
I do have real questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said Francis Ford Coppola's.
Yes.
So I'm assuming that's the director.
I'm fairly certain that's true.
Yes.
Okay. Who is Bram Stoker the author of Dracula
Yes.
Yes.
in real
Okay.
life?
Yes.
IRL.
Okay. I've seen
He wrote the book.
I watched the Dracula with Bela Lugosi.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, Old school
I've seen that
Dracula.
one.
Mhm.
yeah. About the same story. I don't think there's any
I don't-
possums in this one.
Yeah, I don't remember the
I
story
would
except
challenge
for
that it is about the same story.
the
We'll
best
get there.
part. The best part I think of that Dracula is that there's like these giant rats in the castle, but
Ew.
they're possums and
Yeah.
armadillos.
Amazing.
Oh,
It's so good.
It's really good.
I don't think I've seen. I just have the one thing that I've brought up too many times on this podcast of just seeing a lady lying in bed with her neck overly exposed.
Yeah.
That made me fearful in my sheet positioning for the
That's
rest of my
right.
life.
That's right.
But that must have been from when I was a kid because I don't remember. So I definitely didn't see this version, and I think I'm just confusing it with Frankenstein,
Yeah.
the monster. Now, were these written around the same time? Is this a super old book, or is this a?
Were they written around the same time? I don't remember.
Dracula was written in like 1899 or something like
Yeah.
that.
Okay, so 1800 something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
remember when Mary Shelley penned that famous novel,
Right.
The Dinner Party. Fun story. Look it up.
Yeah, it is
We've
a fun
probably
story.
talked about this
We
already.
have.
Oh, okay.
I
Well.
think. Anyway, I'm sorry. Maybe we haven't.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything else you think you know about this movie that you missed out on in your summary?
Okay, here's the stacked cast. See,
Ooh,
can you
let's
guess
go.
any of them? We got Mina. Someone said Mina.
Okay, so with the story, right? So Dracula uses his power. There's like a guy that comes to his house, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jonathan Harker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is he just
is
traveling?
that Brad Pitt?
That's not Brad Pitt,
No,
but it
it's
is an
somebody-
attractive
It
man
is
from the 90s.
a 90s king.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who we love a lot now.
Tom Hanks?
Oh my gosh, is it no, I know who it is. Oh my god, why can't I think of his name? No, he's in The Matrix.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves?
Yes.
Yeah.
Larry Fishburne. No.
This is the era of Keanu when they were like, what if we put him in challenging acting roles?
Yes. What if we put this pretty boy who is not
good?
the most compelling actor into what should be a very meaty acting
Yeah,
role,
no, I think he struggles to convey emotion.
as well as being British.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Most people are British. Dracula is in Transylvania.
Yes.
I mean, I guess I've read the book a number of times.
Me too.
And I just read it in October.
Oh, braggy.
So I know that story pretty well, and I remember almost nothing of this plot if it differs.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
It-
I was going to say.
It does and it doesn't.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. This movie is so bananas, I genuinely don't know if you two will hate it
Oh, I can't wait.
or be so delighted by watching it in this situation that it's kind of good.
Okay, here's a question that I asked before the podcast, and I said I'll save it for the
Great.
podcast. Is it scary? Am I going to be scared?
I think it's too, in my opinion, I think it's too cuckoo bananas to be scary.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it goes hard.
It does go hard, but like I don't think there's a lot of like jump scares. I think it's more like Gary Oldman is a fucking weirdo, and that's the scary part.
Okay, but he does have butt hair,
He
right?
does have butt
Does have
hair.
butt hair.
That is a thing.
It took me. Can I peek behind the curtain? By the curtain, I mean my brain. It took me the rest of that 60-second summary to realize you didn't mean hair on his butt.
No.
You meant the hair on his head that looks like
It's
a butt.
shaped like a butt.
Yes.
And I feel like I've only
Oh.
ever seen that in The Simpsons when
Yes.
Mr. Burns is a Dracula.
One of the best Treehouse of Horror
Oh,
sketches
yeah.
they've
Yeah.
ever done, which is a surprisingly faithful adaptation of this insane movie.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So maybe I have seen it because I've definitely seen that.
Yeah, I mean, there's
I
not
don't
a
remember
super
what-
fun happy slide in the Coppola movie, but
Yeah.
How? This is already blowing my mind. And I can already tell you I'm getting confused with another 90s movie I did not see, which was Interview with a Vampire.
Oh yeah, that
Just
is Brad
totally
Pitt.
different.
That does
That's
have
Brad
Brad
Pitt
Pitt.
and Tom Cruise.
Yes.
And was that Reese Witherspoon? No.
Kirsten.
Yeah,
Kirsten Dunst.
Dunst.
Got it.
this one has a different beloved actress of the 90s who
Yeah.
has seen a resurgence in the last decade or so.
Marissa Tomei.
No.
She's seen a resurgence.
Yes.
On a certain spooky Netflix series.
That's right.
Oh,
With
Catherine Zeta-Jones? No.
No,
No,
she's
it's
in
Spooka.
She's in that
Spooka.
Wednesday show. She's in Spooka.
Spooka.
Well, it's the Spookies?
Winona Ryder is
My friend
the-
Spooka.
Oh,
That
She
makes
plays-
sense.
Stranger Things.
Yeah, probably Mina. She
Yeah,
does play Mina.
pretty sure she's
Mina
played
is
Mina.
the most important woman in this.
Yes.
There should be, if it's faithful to Dracula, multiple important women.
Yes.
Are they?
Lucy is the other one.
Yes.
That's her friend.
Yes.
Lucy Westerna. I don't know who plays her.
I don't either.
But in the book, Mina's kind of badass, but in my last reading of this, she also was like very much like, oh, these men, I love helping them.
Yes.
And I was like, oh.
They'll take care of the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a bummer this last read, but still a great book. Read it.
So if you get bitten by a Dracula, you just die? Or do you turn into... Because it's not like vampires, right?
I think it depends.
It is Dracula's a vampire.
Oh.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. I don't know if that's clear.
Maybe the
So
most
he's just
famous.
like the
Are there
most-
lady vampires?
There's some lady
There's some lady
vampires,
vampires.
and
They
maybe-
are very horny.
Oh.
Yeah, I can see. That's usually how they're portrayed, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think. I mean, varies from vampire to vampire story.
Yes.
I think the most common thing that I see. I'm a big vampire lover.
Okay.
No big deal.
I thought you also liked wolves.
I do. I like a classic monster.
Got it.
And Dracula can turn into a wolf. No big deal.
Wait,
Dracula.
what?
Wait,
then why
what?
are wolves and like not Wolverines? What do you call them? Werewolves.
Werewolves.
Yeah.
And
Snick.
vampires like always fighting each
I don't know.
other,
They're
like
jealous,
on
maybe?
Twilight.
In the underworld. He doesn't turn into a werewolf. Does that sort of make him
Yeah,
a
he
werewolf in
kinda
a way?
does.
But
I
he's
mean,
never like a half
in the
man,
Venn
half
diagram-
wolf giant.
Okay.
I would
Or
challenge
maybe
that.
he is
This
in this
movie
one.
is insane,
Okay.
you guys.
In the
He
book.
turns into a wolf in this movie?
I'm pretty sure
I thought he turned into a bat.
he turns into everything.
He also
This
turned
movie
into
is so
Mist.
bananas.
Whoa.
Well,
Usually, like a Dracula will drain all your blood,
Yeah.
and then you're done. So
Yes.
unless
Ooh.
he gives you some of his blood,
Yeah.
Oh.
Horny.
and
Yeah.
then
And
then
then
you
you're
live
a
forever.
Dracula.
Oh, you're okay.
Cursed.
yeah.
Okay.
But the sunlights get you.
Yeah. Let me just prep you for like how my theory of how this movie was made. Francis Ford Coppola read the book and
Okay.
he's like, this is pretty good, but I'm pretty sure I could zazz this up a little. And boy, does he.
Yeah, and also like, oh, the guy who did The Godfathers, yeah. Here's all my money. I'm a
Do
movie
whatever you
studio.
want. And then they were like, oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
No, because like having not seen this in the 90s, it was just like, I'm going to watch this because pretty people are in it, which is why I think most people watched it at the time. Having watched it as an English major who had read the book, I was just like, oh, I wonder what he did with this story. Boy, oh boy, this movie is bananas.
Anthony Hopkins, Van Helsing?
Yes.
Great.
And he is so into it.
Wait, Van Helsing is in Dracula?
Yeah.
Is he
He's-
the hunter of Dracula?
In the book?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Van Helsing is the Dutch?
I think so, yeah.
He's like the smarty pants who like already sort of knows about vampires.
Like he's like one of the people who like actually knows they already existed.
Yeah.
And he's like really got a hard on for Dracula because
Yeah.
he's like the big bad of the vampires.
Yeah. And he's the only one. There's a collection of men that are trying to get Dracula.
Yes.
Because Dracula got their girl.
Yeah, it's very much just like they only care because like they got cucked by Dracula.
Okay, wait. So when you say got their girl, do you mean murdered her or like turned her into a vampire lady, like a horny vampire lady?
It's all over the place.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, classic vampire is like, we're draining bloods, but maybe we're also banging.
Like the whole, like, yeah, like part of what makes Dracula like such an antagonist is he doesn't give a fuck. Like he is just like doing what he wants when he wants, and everybody hates him for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But while doing that, in this movie, he wears incredible outfits and is just, I mean, here's what I'm trying to say. In short, I don't think this movie is good, but I think a lot of what happens in this movie is amazing.
Okay.
Like
All
Gary
right.
Oldman brings it to this movie. Whether everything happening around it is worth watching, I cannot say.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. God, I remember nothing else. There's some other men that are important to the story. I don't know if they're famous actors, though.
But, okay, what is the story? So Dracula.
Okay, here's broad strokes the story.
Yeah.
Dracula's living in Transylvania, but he's bored with it, I
think
guess.
so.
Sounds
yeah.
like somebody nailed the location in their 60-second summary.
Nice.
Yes.
Crushed it. Although, who knows? Because in this one, he might. In
It's
this,
like New York.
no, in this one, though, Coppola might have been like, oh, it's just Wallachia or whatever. Like, he'll just, say something.
Actually,
Okay.
give me 60 seconds if I can
Okay.
do the book plot.
Yes,
That's
I
more
love
fun
this.
than me taking 10 minutes.
Right. Okay. 3, 2, bleh.
All right, Dracula's born in Transylvania. He wants to go to England, the New World, and I'll make everybody a vampire.
Okay.
So he engages some lawyers from England. Jonathan Harker comes
you do,
over
yeah.
to like set up real estate dealings and such. Jonathan Harker comes there. He figures out he's a Dracula. Dracula gets him.
Okay.
Way back in England, Mina's there. Her best friend Lucy is like trying to pick a suitor out of 3 men. She picks one. The other 2 are bummed, but they still like her. Dracula comes to England. He gets Lucy.
30 seconds.
Now, all the men that loved her want to get Dracula, so they get this famous doctor from the Netherlands, probably.
Sure.
They come over. A lot of stuff happens. They chase down Dracula, and I won't spoil the end.
You still got time.
Oh,
Is this
but
like
I
a
guess
stake in the heart?
it could be.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a big carriage chase that's very
Is there
exciting.
like
10
a final scene in a
seconds.
crypt?
Lucy turns into a vampire lady and they have to kill her. Sorry,
Oh,
Lucy.
sad.
Mina's there and very supportive the whole time.
Time.
Yep.
Now, remember, this is the book he's summarizing.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Not
so
the movie that is sort of like the book.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Yes. Dan's
Oh.
bad. There are cowboys, and it's great.
Yeah, well, one of the men is
I'm sorry,
an American
what?
who's like very American, Quincy Morris
Something,
from
yeah.
Texas.
Yeah.
And he's got like a 6-shooter, and he's kind of a character even in the book.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine he's like full John Wayne or something.
I just remember, I explicitly remember a scene in this movie where it is like they are at, spooky gothic Dracula house, and there are just dudes on horses going yeehaw or wahoo or whatever, shooting their guns in the air. They might not be shooting their guns. I might have added that mustard, but they're definitely just like cowboys, like storming Dracula's castle, and they're being real cowboys about it.
They're real
Wow.
cowboys.
I love it.
So this is all actually about sex, though?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay.
And like Coppola really makes sure you know that too. Like,
Yeah.
just
so-
like in case you don't get it, there's a couple of just like direction choices he does where it's just like, oh, just so you're aware, like this is all about horniness.
So we kind of touched on it, but I don't think we actually did. Does it pass the Bechdel-Wallace
I
test?
hope so. I feel like
it
Nina
really
and
should.
Lucy have got to be chatting, right? But
They
they might
chat
just
a
be
lot
talking
about
about dudes.
suitors. I feel like there's other stuff. Lucy's got a mom.
Yeah. So maybe Lucy's mom is like, Lucy, put this dress on or
yeah.
something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. There's also a wonderful character named Renfield.
Yes.
Who is in a... I can only think of derogatory terms. He's in a mental health facility.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which at that time might just mean a dungeon,
Yeah.
right? Like it's,
And one of the doctors is like doing experiments on
Yeah.
him.
No.
He's trying to help, but also doctors from another time.
yeah.
And then, Dracula like takes over his brain and he becomes his little servant.
Yeah.
And now we've got that is the titular character in the upcoming comedy horror
Nicolas Cage vehicle.
Dracula, Renfield.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which looks great. I'm
Nikki
excited.
Holtz is Renfield.
Yeah.
Nicky Cage is
Dracula. I don't think he has butt hair, but
So
I bet
it's
he
like
will.
the Igor
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
from
Yeah.
Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Got it.
He's like his little gopher, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Eats a lot of flies and spiders.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's also played by a famous person.
Oh, wow. I'm excited for all the famous people.
Also a famous person?
Yeah.
I don't know that one.
It's a teaser.
I'm excited to find out
Yeah.
who it is.
Great. Molly, how should we rate this movie?
By Coppola Spoons.
Okay.
Interesting.
What?
Where does the spoon come
Yeah.
from?
Spooning.
For me,
I see.
So we are spooning with Francis Ford Coppola, or
I mean, if that's where your brain went.
I don't want.
I was thinking I was doing like a couple of spoons, but Coppola Spoons.
Coppola. I got a Coppola spoons.
You got a
I
Coppola
see.
Spoons.
So is it
It's like the
also
silver
like
spoon?
a unit of spoons that you
Yeah,
can have?
it's the two spoons come together.
So Coppola's selling a pair of spoons.
Yeah, a pair of spoons.
It's like branded.
It's
It's
a
like his
Coppola
wine.
spoons.
Doesn't he sell wine
Yeah,
too?
I think so.
And
He
so
sure
these
does.
are spoons. Are they related to the wine? Are they good for stirring wine?
They are great
Wait,
for
and you got to stir
stirring
up your wine.
Yeah. You know how traditionally you stir your wine with 2 spoons before imbibing?
Yeah, to aerate it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need 2 spoons to properly aerate wine.
Yeah.
Yep.
The
There you
Coppola
go.
spoons.
Yeah.
Are they silver spoons like the Coppolas were
Oh.
born into their mouths?
Hey, speaking of Coppola,
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage is Coppola.
That's right.
Yeah.
Did we already say that out loud?
I mean, not in this episode.
No. Here we
big,
go.
Big reveal for anybody who has never read anything about
Anything.
Cage.
There's so many
Yeah.
Coppolas, right? Because
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
Sophia Coppola.
Yep.
And then, how is Wes Anderson? Is he involved in this
You're
somehow?
thinking of Jason Schwartzman.
Yeah.
Jason Schwartzman, for sure.
Yeah.
But I thought, there's a couple other people, though, right? Spike Jonze was just married to somebody, though, right?
Oh.
Spike Jonze to Coppola?
No, he's
By
married to
marriage?
Coppola.
Okay.
Wasn't he married to...
I don't know.
Okay, during the
Judy?
break, I will find out
Judy?
who Spike Jonze
Yeah,
is married
please draw up a family tree for us.
Please.
to. Okay, all right. That's what I'll do during the 207 minutes of this movie.
207.
207 or 2 hours and 7 minutes. We'll find out.
Wow, big reveal.
I see.
Great. Coppola spoons, good
Okay.
for stirring wine. Dan,
Aren't
you go
they?
first, as we all know.
Oh, boy. You may have gathered I am really, perplexed at how to feel about this movie. Because I remember it being, on some parts, amazing, and other parts, just so stupid and weird. But in a way that's also good. So I think it'll be fun to watch, but I think it won't be a good movie. So I guess I will say, I will optimistically go 4 Coppola spoons and hope that the bananasness makes up for the mediocreness of it as just like an actual movie that you're meant to enjoy.
Beth, you're second, as we all know.
As we all know, I go second. I have no idea. I feel like if it's going to be bonkers, that will be fun to watch. So I'm going to say 3.5.
Nice.
Just because
You lost one of the spoons.
the spoon bent in half because
Well, is each-
Dracula bent it with his mind from
Wow.
across the
Whoa,
room.
what?
That's
Yeah.
great.
That's crazy.
I was also wondering if each point is a set of spoons.
That's what I thought.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, it
yeah.
is.
One of the spoons is gone because Dracula ate it.
So
Wow.
that's 7 spoons.
And it's
so-
silver. He died.
Oh.
Nice.
So it's another way to get rid of
Stupid
Dracula.
Dracula.
Feed it a silver spoon.
Yeah.
You just drop it in the wine glass.
Oh, right.
Oops.
As long as it's a big enough glass, be like, ooh, enjoy this wine.
We know he's a chug-a-lug kind of fellow.
Yeah, be like,
Yeah.
ooh, look at this blood. Wink.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he chugs it, and then he doesn't know there's a silver spoon in it. Wow, did we just
Wow.
write a new Dracula story? Because
I
this sounds
believe we
amazing. If Cage dies from swallowing a spoon, I will pay so much money to watch that movie.
Not the real
Not the
Cage.
real Cage.
No, Cage Dracula.
Got
Okay,
it.
Who's immortal. Nicolas
What?
Cage.
Oh, yeah, we'll probably have to talk about
There's
that.
probably 2 ways that you could kill a vampire, right? One is a stake through the heart, and the other is they swallow a silver spoon.
I mean, I don't want to
Yeah.
spoil this movie for you, but Anthony Hopkins will show you it is far more complicated sometimes to kill.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And we did say it would pass the Bechdel-Wallace because there's
We
so many
hope.
ladies in it?
We hoped. There's
Okay.
at least 2 ladies.
But they might be talking about dudes a lot.
There's also horny vampire ladies, but they're definitely talking about a dude.
I don't
And are
think
they
they even
even
talk.
named?
I think they're just horny.
They probably don't
They
have
probably
names.
go like,
Yeah. But maybe they're hissing at each other about like, oh, what are you doing tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know.
Blood
My name's
hunting.
Dan. I go third. You know, I'm going to swing for the fences.
Yes.
I love Dracula. I love bananas. I love Keanu.
Yeah.
I love a 90s mess. 5.
Wow.
I love it.
Yeah,
Go
it's
for
long,
it.
but
Be
I'm
bold.
going 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. My name is Molly. I go fourth. It's not personal. Thank you, Dan.
Mhm.
Okay. You know what? I would start with like a neutral 3.
Okay.
But all this bananas discussion plus Keanu makes me think at least 3.5.
Okay. I also want to remind you that this is an executive produced extra-sode.
Ooh. Okay. Going 4.5.
Uh-huh.
And part of the reason I'm hanging on to the half, Catherine, great choice. Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode. The reason I'm going for that half is so I can say in Keanu's voice, there is no spoon.
Whoa!
Oh,
I
wow.
love it.
That's the
Which-
kill line.
Yeah.
Oh, for this movie?
For when he swallows the spoon.
Yeah, exactly.
'Cause then
Exactly.
he looks down and is like, where's the second spoon?
Oh,
There is no
But he says it in like a
spoon.
bad
Sort of
English
British
accent.
Hey,
All
there's
right.
nothing wrong with a
And
bad English
There
accent.
is I don't even.
There
I don't
is
know.
no spoon.
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember how he sounds. I just remember everyone made fun of him for it at the time.
Yeah.
But we love him.
We love him.
Oh, he's so great.
And with that, we'll press pause, go watch Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Close enough.
Yep.
Thank you, Catherine. We'll be right back.
Hello, listeners. It's also Dan coming at you in the middle
Whoa.
of the show.
Wow.
What we call in the biz the mid-roll.
Which biz is that?
The podcasting biz, my friend.
Oh.
Speaking of podcasting biz,
Okay.
this episode has been, I'm sorry, this extra-sode
Thank you.
has been executively produced
Wow.
by our beloved patron, Catherine Kepsel. Thank you, Catherine, for... What?
Kexible.
Are you trying to make this work?
Yeah, I'm trying to get the X in there.
I already asked you 3 times how to pronounce the
Oh, you
name
got
right,
it
and
right.
you're screwing me up now. Anyway, the reason that we are watching this movie at all is because Catherine is a patron at the $25 level. And folks, if you are a patron at patreon.com/totes-recall, at the $25 level for a year, you get the incredible privilege of forcing us politely to watch a movie that we do have the right to refuse, and Dan will talk to you about it. How fun.
What if I don't want to wait a whole year?
Oh, like you
I just want to pay up front.
you don't want to sit
and
there
like
like
my
watching
movie.
the clock like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm paying $25 every month. When do I get to tell them to watch this movie?
Exactly.
Like if you're a Veruca Salt type.
Yeah.
You want to now.
Yeah.
Molly, I have great news.
Oh.
Patreon.com/totes-recall
.com.
gives you the option to pay the entire year up front
Okay.
at
What?
a significant discount.
Really?
You are actually saving money with your impatience.
Oh, finally.
Yes, right? Incredible.
Well, you'd be a fool not to save.
Yeah, you would. Don't be a fool. And also, it's fine if you are a fool, because thank you for supporting us either way. Especially Catherine Kepsel for supporting us to watch this movie that we're going to talk about right now.
And we're back. We just watched 2 hours and 7 minutes and 43 seconds of just sexy blood.
Anything else?
Old-fashioned times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mina Sorvino is not in this,
Nope.
and that's also not her name.
Is
Yeah.
Mina Suvari someone?
Yes.
Oh.
Maybe that's what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Oh,
Also
yeah.
not in this movie.
No.
Also not in this movie.
Maybe not even born yet. I don't know how old Mina Suvari is.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
She's in
She's
stuff.
an actor of note.
Okay.
And I just like as a word to the wise to any listener who has never seen this movie, I just want you to know that everything we're about to say is real and
Yes.
is based on an actual movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not going to sound that way. It's going to sound like a fever dream. It's bananas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And before we get to
All that.
summarizing that very effectively, this will be an easy one in an award-winning segment. I do want to just shout out Catherine one more time. Thank you for picking this movie. And also, I'll say more about her reasoning at the end, but this was the selection of this movie was a birthday gift to her husband, Josh.
Oh.
So happy birthday, Josh.
Happy birthday, Josh.
Happy birthday.
That's a great gift.
It is.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoyed this episode.
Yes.
That's all. We'll talk more about that later.
Yes. I'm glad we could bring joy to someone else.
Yeah.
At the same time as bringing joy.
Joy? Question mark? We'll find out.
Question.
Yeah. But awards. Speaking
of awards that are not for birthdays.
Rain down us like a couple of buckets of blood thrown from off screen.
Yes, or a storm across the English Channel that is full of pheromones or something.
Yeah. For the segment known as 60-Second Summary. The segment in which we summarize the movie we've just watched, Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Technically, I think it's just called Bram Stoker's Dracula. Okay. Like, I don't think it's written out as
Bram
Francis Ford
Stacker.
Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula. Bram Stacker. I tell you, this is crispier than a Bram Stacker and a stale.
Faster than a rattlesnake on a tin roof.
We'll talk about it.
Yes, as is tradition, I will volunteer to go first.
I'd like to do it.
Yes. Should be easy one.
Yeah, I think you covered
No
it in
problem.
about 10
Straightforward
seconds.
plot.
Okay.
Now, since Molly is the one that's doing it, I will take her role of reminding the speaker they must open on.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
3, 2, blue.
We open on a scene from the History Channel where they explain all of Christianity and some other issues. There's a oh no, Dracula is like a killer, and he kills all these Turks in the name of God. But then there's a miscommunication, and his love kills herself, and he blames God, and then drinks blood from like spearing a cross, and he becomes a vampire.
30 seconds.
He's evil, and he's in love, and oh gosh, this guy comes to close some deals from London. There's a lot of letter writing. It was just as was foretold, based on the book, with like Lucy and Mina and all of that love triangle. There was a cowboy and also a doctor and another doctor.
10
There's
seconds.
a lunatic. And I mean that in the way that it was in historical times. And in the end, Dracula is killed by Mina.
Time. I don't think you have
Wow.
to. I don't think you have to do any like progressive caveats during the 60-second summary.
I just realized.
Like we can revisit it afterwards.
Pretty
but also perfect.
Pretty
I mean,
good.
100%.
Yeah.
Jonathan
I forgot
Harker.
to
Yeah.
remember. I forgot Van Helsing
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
the doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
It's so good. So much happens.
So much happens.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not even going to add anything to that summary. It was perfect.
Yeah.
I will quickly go back over the pre-summary and see
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
how
well did Beth and
Harker we
Molly
got
do?
it.
Yeah.
Dracula's there. He's Gary Oldman.
Yes.
Nailed it. There's a human.
Yeah.
Nailed it. There's
Many.
a castle.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a lady.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mina is a wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Weird butt hair.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
1,000.
A cape. Absolutely.
Wow. That
baby.
cape.
Train longer than Princess Diana's.
Yeah. Dracula turns into a bat.
Yeah.
A bat. He's kind of a Batman.
Yeah, he's a Batman.
Bat.
I feel
There's
like
some
it's-
dead bats.
I feel like it's implied that, like, at some point when he's that bat guy, he, like, flies around like a bat.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep. There's Transylvania.
Yep.
Good call, Beth.
American. Arat.
I think I said accents.
Oh,
American accent.
But
yes.
that was, I mean, sort of true, but not on purpose.
I mean, but also on purpose sometimes.
Quincy Morris,
yeah.
a cowboy
That's
from
right.
Texas.
That's right.
So great job, 100%.
100%.
Yeah, we-
Jonathan
Oh,
Harker.
what year? What year bets did we make?
We made bets collectively the 92 through 95,
Yeah.
and it was 92, which is in that range. So I think we all won.
Wow.
We can run
That's
it.
interesting.
I'm pretty sure we all just said the 90s.
I'm pretty sure I actually committed to 92.
You
Wow.
did.
Oh, great.
Congratulations!
Wow.
I will reward your specific year bet by rewarding you with this statue of Dracula stabbing the cross and drinking blood from stone.
Yes.
While he's wearing
muscle
armor that looks like he's been skinned alive.
It is
it's
impressive.
Like a Body Works display.
This is scene 1. Yeah. The first scene of the movie, Gary Oldman is already wearing like someone heard the term muscle suit and took it far too literally. And then he stabs a stone cross, which just starts bleeding profusely, which everyone just seems to accept.
Okay.
He I think we can all agree he's like making up the rules as he's doing it, right?
Yeah. He comes in, he finds out that his beloved has jumped off of a building and died.
Yes.
And they tell him that because she has completed suicide, she will not go to heaven.
Yes.
And then he gets pissed.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And the first thing he does is he like swings a sword around and then stabs the middle of a giant stone cross.
Yeah.
And blood is everywhere.
And like, I guess
why? We don't know.
Yeah, and I guess that scene where he's kind of like making up his own mythology as it happens is like, I guess that was like a preview for like every character's response to banana shit, right? Because like the stone starts bleeding, and rather than being like, oh, weird, he just takes out a bucket and he's like, the blood is the life, I will drink it for eternity, and just goes with it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm sure I mentioned this in my summary, but he was part of the Christian Crusades.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was a devoted soldier of the Lord.
Yes. And in his devotion, though,
Christ.
he was pretty sadistic.
Yes.
In spearing people alive and they sort of go into a lot of pretty graphic stuff.
Unlike any other military figures who followed Christian doctrine back in the past, he was incredibly violent about it. And just caused just torturous violence across entire countries, unlike other Christian militants of that era.
Sure, sure. But it does get it all gets pretty confused.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, great.
Yeah, that's a good summary of the movie, too. It does get confused.
The energy of this movie is manic. Like, every scene is just everything at once. Yeah. Like, they're using in-camera stuff. They're using out-of-camera stuff.
Amazing.
There's, like, first-person view. Then you're seeing it from, like, the perspective of everyone
You're like
at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, at one point we get narrator comes back who is Van Helsing,
I think, yeah.
And it feels like a completely different movie of like, wait, this is his story? Somehow he's like recanting like the thing that happened to him.
There's also an old-timey film segment.
Oh,
that
my
was
God, I lost my mind.
We are jumping far ahead.
That's fine, yeah.
That was almost like the intermission of the movie, right?
It was wild. I did learn something about this movie that did help me to understand it just a little bit more. Should I share it now or wait?
Well, where did you learn it?
I learned it on Wikipedia.
Learn the more about
What was that part? Nice.
Org for org.
Yes.
Org.
Sincerely, D.
So much letter writing, by the way, in this movie.
Which, to his
journal
credit,
reading
is like the actual book. Like, I thought he was going to abandon that immediately, but it kept coming back.
Yeah, the book is written in the epistolary style.
Yes. Oh. It's all letters.
Through
it's
letters,
all correspondence.
diary entries, newspaper articles.
Oh.
Very effective.
Oh,
format.
That's cool.
So that was a non-departure from the book.
Yeah.
Was letter writing and narrating.
Well, so Francis Ford Coppola didn't want to use any modern effects in the film.
Okay.
And all the special effects people he met with were like, basically, you cannot do this. And so he fired them and hired his son, Roman Coppola.
That's why he was credited with the special effects.
Yes.
Okay.
And so they did all kinds of things. Like they did like old school where you do double exposure on film.
Okay.
You rewind the film and redo it. They did lots of different things, but I think that might account for every single creative like transition.
Yes.
There'd be a spot of blood, and then that would transition into the center of someone's eyeball.
There's so many fades.
Yes.
But like 25 of them? I don't know.
It was wild.
Yeah, probably.
And then we have, like, the movie already is, as Beth said, like, has this manic energy. If you just had, like, all the scenes that were actually scenes, it would still have that. But every once in a while, we just have a cutaway to something, and I don't know why we have it. Like, we'll just see blood cells at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, the blood cells also being horny was really something.
Yes. I believe, if you check the tapes, I said in the first half that this movie constantly reminds you it is about horniness.
And
It's wild. I don't... What even happened? What did we just watch?
horniness.
Yes,
Yeah.
we did. I spent most of my time just writing down what other people said while we watched it. And at the point where Dracula's like horny triplet servant ladies started to feed on Keanu Reeves. Or no, it wasn't even that. It was not even that. It was actually right when the first one started like emerging out of the sheets.
Yeah.
Which was a cool effect.
It was a very cool effect. Beth said, "Oh, I hate this."
Yeah.
And I did.
Yes.
I did.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure at one point in that scene, someone said, "Did she just bite his dick?"
And I
Reader,
think so.
we think he did.
Oh,
we think she did.
definitely did.
Oh,
Yeah. Because he's, like, into it.
But
There's
then
these
also
horny...
like kind of not into it.
Yeah,
Because he's like, "Oh, she bit my dick." He doesn't say that.
Whoa.
And then
doesn't
they eat a baby? I don't
Yeah.
know.
They do
That
eat a
was
baby.
disturbing.
That's from the book.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
I thought it was funny to think about the kid who was like that baby in that movie and be like, "Oh, I was the baby that got eaten by the
Well, it's
vampires."
so funny because I bet like on the set, like without the post sound effects, like the three actors are just like, "Oh, hi," like just kind of like poking at, just like
yeah.
tickling it, and like, but there was just like very intense red light around them as they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the sound effects, Beth, I think you
Yeah.
cued us into it. It was Dracula basically had like a Halloween sound effects CD playing in his house.
Yeah. Like the second Harker, who we haven't even talked about, Keanu Reeves, comes to Castle Dracula. Like anytime Dracula just does anything, there's always some like spooky sound that has nothing to do with what he's doing.
There's like always someone screaming.
Or like someone like, "Oh, making a whisper."
Yeah.
Like literally there's a point where he's just looking through envelopes and in the background there's just like
He's just got like a speaker system in his
right?
house.
Like that's what it just seems like he saw Keanu pulling up. He's like, "Oh, okay," and just like turned it on.
Turn on the spooky sound effects.
I mean, Keanu Reeves' character is sort of this young person who's
He's a
ambitious.
pretty boy.
Yeah, who's trying to make his way in a lawyer firm.
Yes.
And his predecessor in this task specifically is who becomes, what's his name again?
Renfield.
Renfield. Anyway, ends up in an asylum.
Yes.
So he doesn't know any of this, but he gets sent in as sort of this like lamb to the wolves.
Mm-hmm.
And as he gets out of the car, as it pulls up, a woman hands him a rosary and says, "Death is very fast."
Something
or
like that,
something.
Yeah, because he's like, "Oh, the other
Travels
coach
fast.
isn't here yet," because he's waiting to change coaches
Yeah.
to get Dracula's coach, and he's like, "It's not here yet."
And then they bug out. He is standing there. The coach pulls up, and it's being driven by a faceless person who's sort of in like a crow mask.
He makes like little growly noises.
It
And
has, like,
reaches
claw
out
hands.
with like a Halloween store claw
like a
hand
9-foot arm.
and just sort of picks up Keanu
he like
and
kind
puts
of
him
makes
in
him
the.
float. He
Yeah.
like pulls him like on
Yeah.
a tractor
Yeah.
beam to the carriage.
But they're not really selling us on Keanu being under any sort of hypnosis
No.
at any time.
no,
But he does seem particularly passive in all of
Yeah.
this.
It's like, it's weird how many just bonkers things happen right in front of his eyes.
Before he even gets to the doorstep.
Yes.
He drives through blue flames that are totally unexplained.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
I want to
see
know
him
how they
again
did
at the
that.
end.
Not
They probably like lightsabers where they drew it on the
they
film.
just draw it on the
Yeah.
film. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
I don't know. Maybe.
Called up George.
Oh yeah, I just drew on the cells, and then 30 years later, I didn't think it looked right, so I just got a computer and did it again.
At any rate, he has all these warnings.
Let's go down the list of all of the things that Jonathan Harker witnesses his client just do.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even like he's doing them to Jonathan, although there are a couple.
I mean, but also, does he just think this is how people are in Romania?
Right, like, oh, rich Romanians,
Well,
I don't know.
He gets a letter from Dracula, signed D.
Which
talking
is
about his beautiful country.
Which is the first time, by the way, that we get Oldman's like old Dracula voice. It's just him reading the letter as a voiceover, and it is it's an aperitif of what's to come.
Yeah, Oldman goes so hard in this movie, and the whole time he's great.
I loved it. But like old Dracula, butt hair Dracula is like chef's kiss.
The butt hair is so much better than I expected. No offense, Beth, your sketch was very rough. But apparently, Coppola wanted to make sure it wasn't like the typical stuff with like the widow's peak and the big collar and things. And so he kept asking the production team to make stuff as interesting as possible. And the designer who designed Oldman stuff like drew on like Catholic imagery and angelic imagery.
Sure.
And in it, he just has never cut his hair. So in addition to the weird butt-like bouffant in the front, it's this super creepy braid that goes all the way down his back.
Really gross.
It was really gross.
It is real hard to look at. Also, his fingernails are very long.
Yeah.
His fingernails are very long. His skin is very...
Which these are all warnings, by the way.
Yeah.
Right, and this is just his appearance.
Yeah, his shadow is independent from his
shadow
body.
is so
which
good.
Is actually
Very cool.
Yeah.
Just the vibe when he like pulls up to the castle and it's like dark. There's a wolf out front that's about to like bite him. There's fog and creepy horses.
Yeah, so like he comes in, Dracula has his butt hair, he's in his like giant blood red robe with a 9-foot train.
Yeah.
He, I don't know, takes him to his dining room, which just has like giant statue heads and creepy paintings of himself.
Yeah. And that's where we find out that he's a bit of a joker.
Yes.
Because he says...
He's a real stinker.
Yeah, he says like, oh, I hope you don't mind I won't eat with you. And also, I never drink. Why? Like the pause there is
Incredible.
so good.
And he's like so proud of himself too. Yeah.
I got away with another one.
And then at that point, again, Keanu's Jonathan Harker is still just like, well, you know, like he sees he's like, oh, I see the resemblance, but he says it in Keanu voice with also a British accent on it.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, just real quick, the first time Keanu spoke in this movie with a British accent, Molly said out loud, "Oh God, he's really working."
He really was.
He was trying his best.
I mean, obviously, a lot of goodwill towards Keanu has developed over a illustrious career.
Yes.
But yeah, it's not good, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
It wasn't as bad. And, you know, it kind of reminded me of a story that a friend of mine told about her son.
Okay.
Who was singing one day, and a relative inquired, "Oh, do you think he might be tone deaf?" And she said, "Sounds okay to me." And so when I was like, I think Keanu sounds fine.
Yeah.
I was like, but my accent is way worse, so I don't know. Maybe I don't have the right ear for it. Coppola said that he felt like what actually was holding Keanu back was he was trying so hard.
I mean, it looks like it.
Yeah, and that he was trying to be so deliberate and perfectionist about it that he couldn't get him to relax. And that's part of the reason his presentation was so wooden.
Yeah, this is the era of Keanu where like we all love him because of Bill and Ted,
right?
And I think maybe Speed was maybe 91. But he's like just starting to be like, this guy's can take off. Yeah. Let's put him in a meaty acting role.
Right.
And it's not for him.
It's not.
You know, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's fine.
He's still very handsome.
And I'll say, like, Winona Ryder, bless her heart. Like, I thought she was so great in Little Women, or one of the Little Women. And I just, every other period piece I've seen her in, I'm just like, ooh. It's just hard. She just reads so modern.
Yeah.
They're the perfect choice for like the vibe of the movie and like being pretty people. Do you know what I mean? But they weren't like, if you want like English actors.
Right, in like 18 whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like maybe I have more retroactive respect for Romeo plus Juliet, right? Because I had Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes.
Yeah.
And they seem right for that overwrought, over-the-top production, right?
But they play Americans, right?
I guess so, but also they just seemed right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A little peek behind the curtain, not my curtain.
Oh.
But
Whose curtain?
Dracula's curtain?
Winona Ryder's curtain. No, but not in a weird way.
I mean, you made it sound pretty weird.
Yeah, it does sound pretty weird.
I have a weird amount of gossip about Winona Ryder, like industry gossip, and I guess I'm so obsessed with her.
Okay.
Wow.
I mean,
In a
everybody
positive
was.
way. Everybody was. And I think
That's
about
why
her
charming.
all the time and how incredibly popular she was and how that shoplifting thing like ripped her to shreds in a way that
Heard
seems
about that.
So quaint now.
and
Right?
just out of proportion.
Yeah.
You know, you can do so much right. I think I tune into that kind of thing. Here's the thing. When I was little, one of the stories they had us read in the
Shoplifting.
3rd grade.
You shoplifted.
No.
Oh.
One of the stories they had us read was, I think, a parable from a different culture. I don't know which one.
Transylvanian.
But in it,
Dracula.
this young, brave person, somehow everybody gets called to the palace. And the only way they can save the life of a child, of somebody, I don't know, the princess or whatever, is to get milk from a lion.
Oh.
And he bravely goes out and through all of these forces that work with him and help him and his bravery and goodness is able to ask a lioness for her milk. She gives it to him. He goes back. Meanwhile, the devil has made a bet with God.
What?
That he can undo whatever good God gives to him in a single word. And God takes the bet. So this kid, who's both brave and good and all of that, also has like literal God helping him, which is part of the reason the lioness gives him the milk. He brings it back to the palace and he says, I am so relieved and pleased to bring to you, my lord, the milk of a goat. So goat is the one word that the devil picks. And
he changed.
not
lion
only
to
do they
goat?
not use the milk, which would have saved the girl's life, he's cast out and banished forever. This had an outsized effect on my young psyche. And to this day, I think that I will someday make a mistake, some small mistake, like let's say being rich and famous and shoplifting, that will cast me out of society forever until Stranger Things casts me again. So I'm just saying, I think that's why I feel a kinship towards Winona Ryder. And the thing to know
That's
about
a
all
long
of this,
walk.
it's a long walk.
I mean,
and-
I'm glad we took it. Don't get me wrong.
No, it's nice
mean,
to take
this-
a long walk every once in a while.
Well, and this might be bonus content. The point is,
Yes.
Winona Ryder was excited to work with Coppola again because she had dropped out last minute from Godfather 3.
Really?
Yes, and that is why Sofia Coppola plays the daughter and got just absolutely hammered with bad press. People felt like she was a terrible actress. But it's all because Winona didn't show up.
Like literally just didn't show up?
Well, no, she called. No, but she was saying she had suffered from exhaustion or
I see.
something. But anyway, she dropped out last minute. She assumed he hated her forever. And then apparently she gave him this script and he always wanted to do Dracula.
Wait,
and
she gave him the script?
that is the lore.
Wow.
Wow,
I'll save the rest for later.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
It's just, wow. That was
lot of facts.
the real Bram Stoker's Dracula of a story about
Yeah.
Winona Ryder.
Oh, what? Coppola thinks he's the only one who can tell a story in 2 hours and 7 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fun local reference.
Please.
Do you know that Winona Ryder's named after Winona, Minnesota?
I knew
Why?
that.
wow. I didn't
She was
know that.
born there. I thought wasn't she born there?
I think so. I want to say
She's
yes.
a local yokel.
She's definitely from Minnesota, yes.
Okay.
They moved almost
Hometown
immediately.
hero.
Oh.
Yeah.
So not really. But as
Winona
far
is
as
a great
Minnesotans
name.
are concerned,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely
Yes.
a hometown hero.
Yeah.
That's how it works here.
Yeah.
Anyway, fun fact.
That is a fun fact. You know what else is a fun fact? Shit.
Nothing. There's nothing else that's fun.
Here's a little peek behind my curtain.
Oh, boy.
I don't like this new
I
phrase.
really wanted to get back to all the crazy shit Oldman was doing in the castle.
Yes.
And I was like just reaching for a transition, and I flew too close to the sun.
Yeah. He also, he comes up when Jonathan is shaving.
Yes.
This is a fun scene in the book.
Oh,
This is the point, though. Like, this is like already we're like, there are so many red flags, Jonathan Harker. But like, this is a scene where it's like, dude, come on.
Yeah. And Jonathan Harker kind of feels him behind him, then turns around and he's actually like outside the room.
Like feet, tens of feet away.
Which is a good creepy move. And then he comes up, Jonathan's cut himself. There's blood.
But he comes up, hold on, let's just stop for a second. The way he comes up is that the door closes on its own, and then he just sort of like...
It's on a conveyor belt.
Conveyor belts over to him, and it's still Jonathan Harker just calmly stands there like, an eccentric old European man. Yeah. All right.
And then Dracula looks at the mirror and breaks it with his mind, I think.
I think he sees the cross. So
is that what happens?
Yeah.
In the book, he actually like slaps it out of his hand.
The mirror?
Yeah. Because like he can't see his reflection. He doesn't want mirrors in the house. It's like well-crafted tension of like, wait, something's going on here. Instead of hitting you immediately with like
this
butt
guy's
hair
fucking nuts.
and like an animated shadow. And then he like licks the razor blade like crazy.
Yeah.
Which, God, he goes so hard.
Oldman.
He really took... Everybody must have got the note, like, act harder.
Yes.
But Oldman took it the most.
Yeah.
And after a while, the note was just keep up with Oldman.
Yeah, right? Like, it was sort of just like, this and... I didn't even give Gary a script, okay? So you just got to roll with it. I gave him the first page where he stabs across and drinks his blood, and then that's it. Everything else, he's just going for it.
Follow his lead. Keep up. And a lot of them do.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Hopkins as
God.
Van Halen.
Van Halen. He is... I love how they introduce him as just like, he's just a weird professor, and he's kind of like eccentric, and he's kind of charming in this way. But then like, once he actually gets pulled into Dracula adventures, he just goes hard.
He's loving it.
He is like literally like as a character, the character itself is loving. He's like laughing maniacally when he's finally like, yes, it is definitely the most powerful demonic person on earth. Let's have dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, and doesn't feel like a great Dutch accent. I still don't know.
It's unclear. I mean, that's the joy. Part of the joy of this movie is that like our two purportedly English leads are, I don't know, Canadian and American. I think Winona Ryder is Canadian citizenship. I don't remember. I guess she was born in Minnesota, so I guess not.
I mean, it borders.
That's true.
I think Winona.
Wow.
I'm not going to look at I'm not looking at the internet. No one needs to know.
Okay.
The last thing I Googled was, what is Nosferatu?
I think one of the top moments that broke my brain, we touched on it briefly, but I want to talk more, is once young Dracula, he's soaked up...
Muscle suit Dracula or...
No, he arrives in London.
Yes, after the horny storm.
Eating everybody on the ship, which is... That's one of my favorite parts of the book.
So
Sorry to be
cool.
such a book nerd, but that's one of the most... like compelling horror parts of that book of like this captain's log of like people keep disappearing off the ship and no one knows what's happening. And then like a weird mist creature appears and the boat just comes to shore with the captain tied to the wheel and no one knows what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, is the captain dead or alive?
He's dead. He like tied himself to the wheel, and his like last journal entry is like, "There's a demon on board. I know not what waits me." It's great. It's great. And they spent almost no time on it in the movie, which is a bummer because they have so much time.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm being a book nerd. But once he arrives in London, we get old-timey film style.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's like a film from the 20s.
It's incredible.
And it's meta because they go to a film house, right? Is that in the book?
No.
They go see a movie theater, and the movie theater is basically Victorian porn?
Yes.
Here's something this might shock you. The whole deal where Dracula is like an ancient warlord and Mina is like the resurrected love of his life. Not in the book.
Yeah.
Well, it is from The Mummy.
So they got it. For Bender Fraser's The Mummy. Yeah, that whole through line is not there.
No.
And it's
the
maybe
book,
why it's the messiest.
Yeah, because like the book does not try in any way to make Dracula in any way sympathetic or tragic. He's just a monster in the book.
Yeah.
Like, he is the embodiment of evil in the book.
And they have Winona Ryder playing both Mina and Elizabeta.
Yes.
So that he is seeking her out again, I guess.
Exactly like the mummy.
That happens in The Mummy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I don't remember.
Yeah, but
the
she
details
doesn't
of
play
that.
both characters in The Mummy.
Yeah, she does.
No, she does not.
What?
They did not put Rachel Weisz in that incredibly skimpy Egypt lady suit.
Oh, that's true.
No,
They were
you're
different
right.
actors, but it was the same idea.
Yeah.
And
They
they, like,
had to fight each other at one point.
they
Yeah.
superimposed her face over. Yeah, it was pretty clear what they were going for.
But why? So why does he think that that's his, like... Okay,
I don't think he
let's talk
thinks
about
it.
The Mummy.
I think he's just horny, and he's like, she'll do.
Oh.
But then why make them the same? Like, are we to believe there is some connection? Is she the ancestor? Like, there's another piece that doesn't.
I'm talking about The Mummy.
Oh, I'm talking about Dracula.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, let's talk about both at the same time
Okay.
because I feel like
one,
it applies.
2, 3. Rachel Weisz and the lady are completely separate people, but the mummy's horny and decides she's good enough, so he's going to put the soul of his dead mummy wife into her body.
See, that's at least
okay.
explained.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right? This is like, we have the same actor playing both.
Yeah.
So it could be that this is the great-great-great-great-granddaughter.
Right.
That would, okay, and he still loved her. Then it's like kind of weird, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
But they never explain it at all.
No.
He's just like into her.
And it's suggested that she is, in fact, Elizabeta again, because she's like, I know this place, I know this castle, blah,
Right.
blah, blah.
Is that,
Oh,
or
but
is that
that's
because
because he's talking to her.
I thought it's because he drank his blood.
I
so
have
he
no
sort of
idea.
did. Right? That's what I'm talking about. It's a mess. And then to add on top of that, Anthony Hopkins is also the priest in the past.
What? He is?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Oh, he was?
The guy with the beard and the hair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
And like, why are we doing that? Like, now there's another connection that's not explained
Just
at
for
all.
yucks?
Yeah.
I think that, I do think that is for fun. And it's like he represents the church and God.
Sure.
I
Right?
guess, but it's like we're hinting at something that isn't there, and
Yeah.
it falls apart when you think about it at all.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think you're just supposed to be shocked and awed by all the buckets of blood.
Yeah, and all the ladies whose tops just can't stay on.
There is just honestly a moment, and I don't know where it is, but I don't think I'll ever get this vision out of my head. And I
Please.
don't mean in like the Shining way. I mean
Right.
in like
The Shining is
just
a door that opens. You actually see the door open. Yeah.
In this case, just all of a sudden, there are like probably 8 interns on each side with a bucket, and they all just throw the buckets of blood at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't even
From both sides
from
of the
both
frame.
sides of the
Yeah, it
frame.
looks great.
It looks good,
But it's, like,
but
so
it's so
bananas.
confusing, and it's like haphazard, like buckets. Like it's not. It doesn't
Yeah.
appear to be like a like somebody turned on a blood sprinkler.
Yeah.
Was that at the same time that Lucy projectile vomits
No.
blood?
No,
that
okay,
was when
that was
he-
my favorite surprise blood scene.
The buckets
was
out
very
of
good.
frame was when he condemned Lucy to the living death.
Wait, Lucy
Oh.
or me?
Lucy.
Oh yes, that's
Like
right.
he went in and he's like, now I condemn you to drink blood.
And I gotta say, Mina's love life is a mess.
Oh,
Oh,
boy.
yeah.
And
I mean, both of their love lives are kind
Yeah,
of
they
messy.
got a lot to work through if their marriage is going to continue.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of infidelity, and also there's a point where she convinces Dracula to bite her, right?
Yeah.
Nina? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mina does.
And I find it very unclear how much like she's actually into it and how much is like weird
Yeah.
Dracula mind control.
Right.
Because he's like,
or is she remembering a past life?
It's so unclear.
Could
Because
be.
At that point,
Could be.
That's what. Yeah.
How
That's
would
what's
we
so
know?
confusing because like we already spent an hour and a half with Lucy getting just like completely brainwashed by him.
Yeah.
And they seem to be having this very earnest conversation where he's revealing who he is to her, right?
Yeah.
And she seems very like cogent. Is that the
Yeah.
right word
Yeah.
to use here? Where she seems lucid
And
and
is like
understanding.
pissed off to find out he's the evil
Yeah.
Dracula
And,
that
like-
Van Helsing's talking
and
about.
honestly, for me, I was like really proud of her for standing up for Lucy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you killed my friend Lucy, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that is a reasonable reaction.
Yes.
And that is literally
Maybe the only one.
moment where I was like, that's a reasonable reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's not about Lucy at all. And then she's still in love with a guy, even
Yeah.
though she's married to this other dude.
And also, like, there wasn't enough of them just hanging out for me to be like, oh, she's really into him now, right?
I mean, they had them hanging out, but in the weirdest situations. And it would be her like asking in trance form, "Tell me about your land, my prince," right?
Or whatever. I mean, they had that moment where they were like both sexily petting a wolf.
Okay.
Oh, why was it? No. Why was it like that?
The most... Like the whole movie, Dan was reminding us it's about horniness.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this scene was the most like, you could feel Francis Ford Coppola be like,
No, you're not just going to hold that wolf. This is about
horniness.
Yeah, right.
Give the dog's ear a hand job.
Right. Like it's like, listen, guys, we only have this wolf dog on set for one day. I know he's cute. I know he's friendly. But you gotta be hornier about it.
I hated it. That dog couldn't consent to that.
No.
But he was being held at least.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was very nice.
He didn't know it was horny.
Well, exactly.
That's right.
It was
you
two
could smell it on
gloved
them.
hands, like all in that white fur,
so weird.
kind of like, I don't know how to explain why it was.
And then Dracula goes like, "We can learn a lot from beasts."
I think what made it so weird is that there was like every other part that's like, you get it? It's like sex. It's like it's two human beings like interacting with each other.
Yeah.
This is the only time there's like this like weird animal proxy in between them, right?
I mean, there were some sexy sheets. There were sexy blood cells.
Yeah, there were.
There was just a lot. There was a lot going on. There was a moment where before Lucy becomes when she's still with the three suitors.
Yeah, we need to talk about
where she
Lucy.
like grabs the cowboy's knife.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Lucy
yeah.
even pre-Dracula
She
my
is
word.
dove
very
to
horny.
flock.
Yeah, big time.
Big time. Like her first scene is like, "Oh, Mina, tell me about your fiance's dick." And it's like, and then
they look at porn
and
together.
then
It's
Mina's like,
accurate.
"How would you even do that?" She's like, "I did it last night."
in my dreams.
There is a lot of like joking with pauses.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, she comes to the cowboy, who we should also talk about more. But she's like, "Oh, let me see all of it. It's so big." And then pulls out this massive Bowie knife.
Yeah.
And then she like looks back at Mina like,
Ah,
wink, wink.
You get it?
Get what I'm doing?
He gets it.
Then two other men come in who are also very horny for Lucy.
Carrie Elways
Oh, what a dream.
and Richard E. Grant.
Carrie Elways mostly just burst through doors angrily.
Incredible.
He's so good at it.
Most of his job in this movie is just to come in and respond to whatever anyone else is doing in like a posh British way.
I will say his reactions actually made sense.
Very
to me, too.
genuine,
Yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
Keanu's got one that makes sense, right? Once like it's fully... It's like no one can argue that you're in a Dracula house anymore.
Oh,
After
because they're eating a baby? Yeah.
eating a baby, and Dracula's like, "Ha ha ha! I've got you now."
And then he
just starts
screams.
going, "Oh,
Yeah.
oh!"
Finally. This is after, by the way, he saw Dracula crawling down the castle walls like a gecko.
Yeah.
And even then, he's just like,
Unusual. Romania is very different.
wow, their upper body strength is incredible.
Well,
Plus gravity goes the other way here.
To give him some credit, he knew he had to play it cool because
Get that money.
Yeah. Well, also he like at some point, this is more true in the book. Sorry, I'm a book nerd. Than in the movie, but like he figures it out that something's going on. But if he reveals it, then he's really sunk.
Right.
So he like tries to play it cool,
Yeah.
but we don't get that subtlety.
Yeah, you don't really get that. There's not enough of a like change of Keanu Reeves is calmly confused by this weird European to Keanu Reeves is trying to play it cool because he's terrified.
Yeah.
So in the book,
Yes,
does
let's go.
he haul his body over the wall and fall into the river to safety
I
and go to
think
a
so.
convent?
Yeah.
Yeah, that all checks out.
Does his hair turn gray?
I
And then
do not
does it
believe
turn
so.
black again?
And then gray again.
And then gray again.
And then
Very
more
gray.
gray.
Yeah.
And
back
then
to
less gray.
Yeah. Do you think that was also Roman Coppola's job? It's like,
Yeah.
Roman, spray Keanu's hair down. Yeah. Okay, I got it. And then like one day he's just like, oh shit, we're all out.
He won't notice.
It's fine. It's all candlelight this time. It's fine.
Yeah, because he gets like this dusty gray that is unexplained, but you get it.
You get it. It's like, oh, his life has been sucked out
Yeah.
or whatever
Yeah.
by the horny
But
ladies.
it goes all over the place.
But then there's definitely moments where it's grayer, and then later in the movie it's not as gray.
Maybe that was like a mood ring. It was just sort
Oh,
of showing
sure.
us like how much life he had in the tank.
In the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose maybe. I'd accept that because I feel like it was grayest when Mina was like, I'm air sexing this invisible blood demon when you burst into my bedroom.
Okay, I am so confused about so many things. And one of the things that was most confusing to me is that to keep her safe. Okay, so one of the 3 suitors of Lucy is the same doctor who's treating
Renfield.
Yes. In an asylum.
Dr. Jack Seward.
And Dr. Jack Seward's like, I know what'll be safe of this thing that can turn into a wolf or bats or rats or mist. Is I'll bring her into the asylum and she can hang out. Apparently his apartment is in the middle of
fucked
it.
Up.
Yeah.
That's some Arkham shit.
So then she has this very strange conversation with Renfield.
Played by Tom Waits.
Of all people.
And big commitment there to
he
that
goes hard
role.
too.
He does go hard.
And I just
got long sleeves.
I just don't understand what his deal is.
Whose deal?
Renfield. I mean, I'm sorry. I get his deal is master. I've sold my soul to you. Please, come give me eternal life.
Yeah.
Then he has a very bizarre conversation with Mina where she gets way too close to the bars.
Yeah,
but
that was a
bad idea.
But nothing happens to her.
No.
Anyway, she gets very close to the bars, and he says something like, "Get away from these men, or I'll never see your pretty face again," or something like that.
Yeah. I think one of 2 things could be happening there.
Thank you.
One, he's having sort of a moment of lucidity through the Dracula haze, and he's like, oh shit, Dracula's coming for her. I gotta warn her. 2, he's jelly. He's well
definitely
gel.
well gel, yeah.
And he's now realizing that he's just a pawn and he's not going to get eternal life because Mina's the one that's going to get eternal life. And so if he convinces her to get out of there, he's back to number 1.
I see.
Oh,
that seems very likely.
Yeah.
So then, what is his role in Dracula's life?
In the book, he breaks out a bunch and does some stuff for him.
Yeah,
it's like his familiar.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. Yeah. And it's sort of to show Dracula's effect on people from afar, that he's entranced and he wants to, be a vampire as well. But in this movie, he's just a wackadoo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it.
And the orderlies in the asylum have cages on their heads.
Yes. They're fellow patients?
I think they are employees because they come in when Renfield goes nuts. They're the ones that come in and start whacking him with sticks.
Is that to protect them?
From their face
must
getting
be
eaten?
it. Yeah, I guess. But it's really, this is the best we could do? They got typewriters.
That whole and then he has a cage on his hand for some reason.
I don't know
Renfield
what
does?
was going on with Renfield's hands. He has
they're like Freddy Krueger gloves, but without any spikes on them.
Like the prototypes.
Yeah.
It was so confusing.
It was. I truly feel like at a certain point, the production and costume designers were like, what can we do? What will be said no to?
There was a point
Yeah.
while watching this movie where Dan Jaquette said out loud, man, all the costumes are banging.
They really were. I liked
the
them all.
costumes ruled in this movie.
Especially Dracula's.
Oh,
in addition to the giant red cape, at some point later in the film, he's wearing like a gold nightgown.
It's amazing.
It's like a gold snakeskin nightgown almost.
It looks like a disco ball.
Yeah, or he took an illuminated manuscript and sewed it into a nightgown.
Oh, yeah. I guess if you sleep that much.
I guess you want to be classy.
You gotta be classy.
And then when he's young John Lennon, Captain Jack Sparrow.
Oh, big time.
Oh, boy.
Little
He's got
soul
some
patch.
Oh, that facial hair.
Only soul that guy's got, am I right?
Oh! Good one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Until the end, I guess, right? That whole thing was about redemption.
I mean, what happens at the end?
What can be said about the end?
Okay, to me, what happens...
Okay, thank you.
It gets really confusing, y'all. But basically, Van Helsing leads all the former beaux plus Keanu Reeves to like basically go try to kill Dracula where he sleeps.
Yes, real quick. I want to just make it clear. What I thought was a posse of cowboys is just the one cowboy and then the other dudes who also get horses, which was disappointing.
Yeah. Quincy Boys is very cowboy.
Yeah.
He's very cowboy,
Yes,
but he did not bring a bunch of cowboys to Europe like I thought.
Yeah, and then Mina also. So this is not the London asylum situation.
Right.
This is later. They're tracking him back to Romania. And they almost have Dracula killed. They've stabbed him and like slashed his throat. So he's definitely on the defensive. And then Mina comes to his rescue and has everybody held off at gunpoint. At which point Keanu Reeves' character says, "Leave her.
Yeah.
Our work is finished. Hers is just beginning." And I was like, what?
That's a stretch, bud.
That's a stretch, but okay. I'm glad you trust. I mean, maybe they've got a great relationship. He's like, hey, I got to trust my wife.
But this is after she already was like, yes, let me drink your evil blood so I can live with you forever. I love you so much.
I love you. Anyway, and so then they go back to the altar where it all started.
Yes.
And where he initially found his love asleep with a note,
Not
suicide note.
Yeah, she wasn't asleep.
Oh, dead. Sorry, dead.
I was going to say,
Sorry.
that would have been, wow. What a twist that would have been. Like, after that, the priest was like, oh, she's actually just asleep. But it was too late. He already drank the blood and became an evil demon.
And then at some point, he's like, let me have peace.
Yeah.
And so then Mina finishes the job of killing him, like
But
stabs him all the way
already gotten
through.
all young again before that.
Well, I think his redemption happens, but
Okay.
I don't know why.
Right.
Yeah.
And then she cuts off his head.
Yeah.
And then the camera pans up to the ceiling, which lights up, and it looks to me like the two lovers are reunited in heaven, which was the hope of the Elizabeta, the dead princess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then blackout, Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah.
Like, that was it. I thought we were going to cut at least back outside to like
Something.
Harker being like, okay, let's go home or something.
Wow, that was wild.
Yeah. Man,
Whoa.
hell of a honeymoon, am I right?
Yeah.
Guitar riff. Amazing.
Wild stallions.
Yeah, they get to the castle.
Yeah.
Dracula bursts out of his dirt box in his like
Looks
Technicolor
great.
dream code. I was like, yes, this rules. Then he gets stabbed with a Bowie knife, kills Cowboy Quincy.
That I honestly felt sad about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good old Quincy.
Yeah.
He had some great southern sayings sometimes
Yeah,
out
he
of
was-
nowhere. And he called Van Helsing an old coot like at least 3 times, and it was great.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick. We also learned Van Helsing is like some kind of magician. Right?
Oh yeah. Okay, he's trying to convince everybody that like
This is real.
there are strange forces in the
Yeah.
world. The science, you're a man of science, Dr. Jack Seward. Don't you believe there are things we have not yet understood? And he starts rattling off like hypnosis, mesmeration, then goes like astral projections, other stuff. And then the 3 men are like, oh, that can't be it. They turn around, he's gone, and he just appears like 40 feet away,
Smoking
a cigar.
Looking so
like
cool.
we are to believe he can teleport or astrally
But
project
only
his...
to make a point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Not to
never...
Not to
defend
save-
his life or save anyone else's.
He never does anything like that again.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
So at one point, he's just standing there watching everything go down.
For a while. Like, Mina is literally shouting from the parapet of Castle Dracula, like shooting storm fire into the clouds. And he's just standing there like, I wonder what she's saying in Romanian right now.
Yeah.
Wild. I
Wild.
tell you what, even the rain is sexually charged.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, we got to talk
boy.
about horny rain.
That's how Lucy first gets like enthralled, is like the horny storm.
Can we just say, so the relationship between these two friends is a little confusing. The
Yes.
dialogue was clearly written by a man, but okay.
Because they never speak to each other about anything but than a man. Is that true?
No, it passes.
Does it?
Yeah, but it passes
Just
in a horny way.
Barely.
They're talking about sex
And,
in
like-
I
general.
mean, but they're still kind of talking about sex with, like, I mean, it's just a little,
I don't know.
I don't know if
Maybe
I
I
get-
missed a point, but to me, it felt like it did not
you would
pass.
think at some point someone would say, cool frock.
Well, but she says, like, I mean, there's a point where she's dying and she's like, this is my wedding gift to you, and gives her a ring.
Oh,
so
that's fair.
That's not horny.
But I would say it would not pass with the flying colors that you would imagine, because so much of it is about sex, real or imagined, with beaux or future fiancés.
Yes.
Anyway, there's this great moment where Mina is pouty and Lucy comes and says, I finally chosen my husband. I'm so excited to be betrothed. And Mina's like still a sad sack. So, to her credit, Lucy calls her out and says, hey, this is like the greatest day of my life. Do you think you could like show some joy for it? And Mina apologizes and said, I'm just worried about Jonathan. And then it starts to rain and both of them are super happy.
Yeah. You're like, okay.
So I'm like, I feel a little insulted on Lucy's behalf. Although I guess now that I'm talking about it, I guess the rain was enchanted.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Dracula made the rain come and made them horny, right? Because they end up kissing in the hedge maze.
Oh, right.
That is a storm that is bringing that abandoned ship to shore. So he is it's the harbinger of his arrival is a storm of horniness.
Yeah.
Do you think that was happening all up and down the street?
I hope so. Yes.
Oh yeah, London.
Like
was just
people were just
London was
making
just
out
fucking-
everywhere.
Yeah. Yes.
And then he shows up. That's when we see full Wolfman Dracula.
Which, like, that
It was
feels like-
he
Is he a beast?
That
He is
feels
a
like just a flex from Coppola, right? It's like, yeah, let's just do a little Wolfman too. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, he's a full-on werewolf.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like sort of the in-between state, right?
Yeah.
'Cause it's a real gnarly looking man or wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he like
Sometimes he is a wolf, though. It's very confusing.
yeah.
But then also he just like adopts a wolf, the wolf that they would later pet, you know, in a sexual way.
He can sort of control the nasty beast.
The nasty beast.
As Van Helsing
Bats,
says.
rats.
Do you think that wolf wanted to sign up for like trotting around after this misty rat dude?
No, I think he enthralls all of them like he did Renfield.
Yeah.
Speaking of rats, though, that was cool when he was like a weird man
You should
bat.
enthrall Parliament and get something passed. Am I right?
Oh, geez, break up this gridlock down at the Hall of Lords, huh?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. That was a character that got cut from the movie. It was the New York journalist who also was horny for Lucy.
Why you got to travel all the way to Transylvania to get some paperwork done, huh?
Yes. The cool thing that happened was Gary Oldman was the villain Man-Bat from the Batman cartoon.
That's right.
And then he he backed up into the shadows so only you could see his spooky eyes. And then they brought the light to him. And then he was just a Gary Oldman height man-shaped pile of rats, which was pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. They collapse into a rat pile.
Yeah. And then Van Helsing, like, with maybe too much ambition, he's like, we need to catch them, burn them all. It's like, dude, that's like 80 rats. Like,
And they're all
there's three
running
of
out
you.
the window, yeah. I think they get one.
Yeah, like one.
It's like, does that matter?
It's a shame they didn't cut to Oldman just like, ow, and like his fingernails gone or something.
Yeah. Yeah. In that horny garden as well, we see Dogman Dracula getting down with Lucy.
Yes.
And it's gross.
It's weird.
Yeah.
And that's what he's like. Now Dracula's like bummed out that Mina saw him
As the Beast Man.
as the beast, the rapist beast man.
Yeah.
Because like, don't look at me.
You never saw me.
Yeah.
Right.
So then later when she's like, I've seen you before or whatever, that's when I thought, I didn't think it was like she was the resurrected Elizabeta or whatever.
I don't know, man.
Oh, it's exhausting.
Layers upon layers.
Yeah.
It's just like whatever you're imagining, add like 3 more layers of red filter to it.
And like crazy crossfades.
Crazy crossfades.
So many.
And then like occasionally a letter
Yes.
will be read aloud. I don't know, y'all.
And then eyes.
Oh, lots of eyes.
That was great. Every time that Dracula would just show up in the sky, I clapped a little inside.
That's good.
There were some, I don't know, like there were some very cool effects. Like all of his like shadows just stretching across rooms that he wasn't even in was super cool.
Yeah, it's like you can tell that he's a good filmmaker. It's just like he's doing too
So
much.
much.
All of the things at once.
Yeah, it's like what if we could do all of the things in film and they're in one movie, and also everybody's acting the hardest they've ever acted.
Also, it's an erotic nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah. During the movie, I started to say something and I said, I have opinions, but I'll save them for the podcast. And that was my opinion. It was too many things.
Yeah.
Like, edit.
Mm-hmm.
And yet,
and so much 90s kissing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot. Even in
the
a
wedding.
Romanian convent, they're just like,
We didn't see
on
any
each other.
thick tongues, but they're mouthing
going
hard.
There was lots of vampire tongue.
Yeah.
I thought an
That's
unnecessary
true.
amount.
Yeah. Ugh.
It's supposed to be with their teeth,
Everything's
right?
just so gross.
What now?
They got to get that blood too.
I mean, technically, a vampire bat uses their teeth to open a wound and then just licks the blood up.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I actually found myself more interested in the bat facts in this, and I don't know if that's true. Van Helsing,
Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen.
Halen is saying that that the bat has to drink.
Is that AC/DC?
Oh, yeah.
Might as well
Back in
jump.
bat. Back
Back
in
in
bat.
bat.
Bat in black.
Bat in black.
Bat in
Except it's the
black.
wrong band, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, all dads.
Yeah.
And bat. That song, fun fact.
Which song?
This is a new Back in Black. Was the first song on my iPod.
Ooh.
And it would always play first.
yeah.
It was
Oh.
AC/DC,
Yep.
Back in Black. Anyway.
That's
so
why you gotta get
very
ABBA.
familiar with that.
ABBA could be your
yes.
first.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Also great for crosswords. Anyway, you hear it first. But anyway, yeah, like the bat has to drink 10 times its body weight in blood to stay.
Wow.
That's what they said in the movie.
Oh, I wouldn't
So
trust
this is
anything
true.
they said in this movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that when Van Halen was giving his lecture in the Hall of Gentlemen.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
That was where like they just made that explicit connection. Like just in case it's not clear, the vampires are like STDs,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the syphilis and
civilization and syphilization.
Syphilization
Oh my gosh.
was the mic drop of
I'm full
academia.
of fun facts.
Okay, please.
Bram
syphilis?
Stoker died of syphilis.
Oh wow.
I know.
Poor guy.
Where'd you learn that?
Wikipedia.
What? Don't scroll past, please.
If everyone knows
.org.
Yes.
.org.
What were we talking about?
Syphilis.
What's a Van Halen song?
Might as well jump.
Jump.
Oh, that's what it should have
Or
been.
the Crystal Pepsi one.
What?
What? Which one's that?
Oh,
Oh yeah.
No tomorrow.
I apologize. I should have just done Jump, which is appropriate because he's the Lord of Leaping a lot of this movie,
Yeah,
Dracula.
There's a lot of jumping.
A lot of jumping.
Jumping forms.
Mm-hmm.
Jumping ladies.
Oh yeah.
Wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow.
Jumping ship.
Ah,
Oh.
nice.
Jumping jacks.
Jumping
Oh,
Jack
one of the
Flash.
characters' name was Jack.
Yeah.
So sure. Yeah. Jumping Jack. Jumping Jack Flash. Was that one of the songs?
It's a song, yes.
No, I know it's the Rolling Stones, but never mind.
Was it in the movie? Or are you asking if that was in the movie?
No, but at the end there's a song in
Oh,
the
yeah.
credits. It's an Annie Lennox
Unexpected.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is not her best song.
No, it's
but
not.
apparently became very popular around the
The
time
lyrics
this movie came
are
out.
way too on the nose. It's like the heart beats and it bleeds and there's the I don't know. There's a lot of just like very like get it? It's for the movie Dracula lyrics.
It's for the credits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The soundtrack, aside from the Halloween soundtrack they played with all the woo sounds in
Yeah.
the background, was even thicker than Thick Williams.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
among the thickest
I
I've
loved
ever
it.
seen.
I loved it. They would literally be like it would be like a teardrop fading into a sunset and it'd just be like
And it starts like even before when you're seeing the Columbia Pictures
Yes.
logos twice. I don't know why, but anyway, see it twice.
the logo was to let you know that they're the ones that produced it. But they're also requiring that they be credited in the credits of the movie.
I see.
They presented it.
Exactly.
Ugh. Well, it's to a big soundtrack. And before we forget, before we move on, the font,
Ooh, baby.
great.
Great font.
Incredible font.
Truly exceptional.
Yeah. Like, you can barely read the word Dracula.
But you feel it,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
You know
And
what's
so at
going
the
on.
end, when you're perplexed and it goes to blackout,
Yeah.
you're immediately, like your ragged heart that's so confused is
Yeah.
immediately soothed
Yes.
by the appearance of
Great font.
that font.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I could think about.
Yeah.
I found the font confusing as well.
It's on brand.
It is.
Checks
out. Checks out.
So I asked Catherine
Capsule,
who executive produced this episode, why she
Thank
wanted
you.
to.
Yeah,
thank
thank
you.
you.
Yeah, thank
If she had anything she wanted to say about
Please.
the movie for us to
I'd
react
love to know.
And she says, I'm so excited. I will be delighted, or maybe whoa.
Well, maybe.
Hard to say. I'm so excited. I will be delighted to hear your collective take on this. Josh and I watch this every Halloween, and I love the costumes and the old-fashioned special effects.
Oh, yeah.
Which were done without CGI, but I will let Molly's Wikipedia time take the lead on that. She
Are there
put some note emojis in there,
Yes.
so I knew it was singing.
Awesome.
Yes, and she also asked her husband Josh what he liked about it, and he said, "What's not to like? The actors, sets, costumes, director. It has it all, and it's creepy."
Checks out.
Very true.
So it does really have it all.
It really does. It's a romp.
It's a romp.
What a romp.
Yeah. So
Great.
no questions in there, but
What?
that's great. All right. We also, on Record Night, put out a call for questions and comments on Discord.
Discord.
The D
for Discord.
which is our text chat platform.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I believe that is.
can
that
post
you can have
pictures.
can post
access.
pictures.
It's text based,
It's
though,
true.
I would say. Right? Yeah.
Sure. If you're asking me, I don't know. Keep going.
Oh, ASCII.
ASCII.
Good one. I love
Thank you.
Fan engagement.
Thing engagement.
Oh! Q's and C's.
Q's are for cooties.
Oh, like the syphilis of
Yes,
vampirism.
thank
Got
you.
it. Okay. Yeah. And C's are for...
The other spelling of cootie.
So, yes, we're asking for cooties and cooties
Yep.
from our cuties.
Oh.
The reference machine states, yes! This movie is bananas. One of my favorite Molly style details is that Dracula's castle looks like a man sitting on a throne.
Whoa.
Oh.
It is a fun...
I didn't notice
Yeah.
that. That's cool.
Yeah, I did. That's cool.
Yeah. Cars on Ass are... Cars on Ass are the performances so good because all the main cast are actually ageless vampires. I didn't know that.
I mean,
Paul Rudd wasn't in it. So.
we thought he
But
was
there
for a
was
second.
guy that looked kind of like Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
We thought he was Quincy for a second. But
Yeah.
no. I mean, Keanu's one of those people that are like, he's a vampire because they
Yeah.
found that old picture of a guy who looked
That's
like him.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he might be a vampire.
He might be a vampire.
I don't know about any of the other ones.
Well, he probably made everybody else a vampire during the filming.
Oh, when he accidentally married Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right, that's
right.
a fun maybe fact, right?
Yeah, where they're not sure, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Wait,
Which is
what is
hilarious.
this fun fact?
They Coppola got like an actual priest from the Orthodox Church to perform the wedding scene.
Yeah.
And they filmed it in Romania. So like a couple of years ago, there was something where like when they were both having their resurgence of the 2000s, where they were maybe on the same talk show or something, and one of them brought up like that it was a real priest and that they were both not sure if they maybe accidentally got technically real married in Romania.
Aw.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know, there's a tradition in the South
I'm listening.
where the bride doesn't go through the rehearsal, that you have a stand-in.
What?
Do it. Yep.
Why?
I think you've told this story before.
I have on pod.
Probably.
Okay, new listeners. So in the South. And so my friend kindly stepped in for my sister, but the person who was going to be performing the ceremony was my great uncle, who had been a pastor, but had not done a wedding in 25 years.
You have told the story, yes.
And his hands were shaking. He was so nervous, and he wanted to do the entire ceremony. Usually the pastor just sort of talks you through and says, and at this point, then we'll do the changing of the rings or whatever. But he was doing word for word the entire ceremony. And we were all a little perplexed, but I'll never forget my friend Betsy's face as she turned to look at me like, excuse me, I think I'm marrying a stranger. that I think I actually stepped in and was like, you know what, this is close enough. Amy, maybe get back up there. I think this is probably good.
Yeah.
So it can happen. That's all I'm saying. That's why they make you do the marriage certificate, so you don't accidentally get married all the time.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Not so they can track us.
No, and you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Jeez,
Not because of
guys.
You can be happy, but you'll have to pay the state.
That's right.
Am I right?
Yeah.
You are right.
Yeah, marriage is between two people and the state.
Yes.
It's not Adam and Eve, it's
Adam, Eve.
government and people.
Adam and Eve and Steve at the marriage license
That's
office.
right.
Also, I think in Atlanta for the longest time, the sign for wedding certificates was the same as the sign for like firearms licenses.
What do you mean?
The sign?
Yeah, the sign would be like firearms and weddings this way.
Okay.
It's kind of funny.
Great.
Kind of sad. Anyway, what's going on? Any more Q's or C's?
One last one. My last name's a palindrome asks, in the post What We Do in Shadows world in which we live, is there even a place for brooding bloodsuckers anymore? I think so.
I would argue
There's always a
that.
place.
What's his name? The guy who's not Matt Berry.
Well, I don't know the actor's name.
I don't care what the actor's name.
Nandor.
Thank you.
Nandor.
I would argue that he is brooding in that show. He's just an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have not seen this show. Is there no brooding in the show?
There's brooding.
There's a lot of brooding.
But there's also hijinks.
It's well worth
Molly,
a watch.
you
It's
gotta
a
watch
good
it.
time.
Okay.
It's
Season
so good.
3's a little weaker, but
Okay.
I think it comes back in 4.
It's so good.
Okay.
My opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Dan's TV corner, I guess.
Yep.
They were asking about brooding vampires.
I said yes.
And
ready to
you
move
went
on.
off on a little tangent about whether seasons
sorry.
were good or not.
I got shit on last time for moving too fast. through this segment. All right.
But I would add, though, I think there's always room for brooding.
Yes. There's always 14-year-olds
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll also add that.
ready to hoover up whatever media will let them relate to
Yeah.
feeling real shitty about
And it's
stuff.
a good way to get horniness into a story.
Yeah.
Because vampires are basically always horny.
Yes.
I mean, Twilight, have you read that book?
No.
It is a chore.
So
I mean,
I've
to
heard.
me,
So I've heard.
it's wild, though. It's like somebody just describes stuff. Like, it'll be like, Cullen looked away, and you're like, oh, maybe there's something to it. It's like, now he's angry. You're like, wait, what?
He is?
It would just describe, like, it was like reading a teenager's journal. You know how quickly you change between moods and stuff because you put down the pen and come back to it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that all the way through. Like, Cullen went through 3 different moods on 2 pages at one point.
Wow.
And I was like, I guess I get why people like this, but this is poorly written. The point is, it doesn't have to be beautifully written because people love that vampire.
Mm-hmm.
They love that repressed sex.
Yeah.
They love
Yeah.
that brooding.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Francis Ford Coppola came in and said, like, what if we just unrepressed it?
I would absolutely watch Francis Ford Coppola's Twilight
Yeah, I would
series.
too.
Oh my gosh.
Good God.
That would be absolutely amazing.
Start a what's that thing where you start a thing and everybody signs it and then people have to do it?
Oh,
A petition?
Yeah, sure.
Like for school lunches?
Yeah.
but you mean on the internet?
Yeah.
Change.org.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were
Started
saying
change
tweet.
dot org.
Twitters that we would like to see in the
Yeah,
world.
change out our remake Twilight movies, Francis
With
Ford
Francis Ford
Coppola. And
Did you say Kokomo?
Yeah, Francis
Kokomo.
Ford Kokomo.
Kokomo. Yeah.
Put Keanu in there.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Oldman's maybe a creep.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
So maybe
Put Winona Ryder
Keanu
in there.
plays
Dracula.
Dracula.
Oh, he should. He's got the hair for it. If he's still got
Is
his wig.
Oldman a creep? Because he and Winona Ryder had a big falling out.
Okay.
I don't know exactly the details, but I believe there's been allegations of abuse in his relationship.
I don't even know it's allegations. He might have actually just been charged at some
Yeah,
point.
I
in
don't
his
know. I actually don't
time
know.
in England.
Well, something happened with him and Winona Ryder on the set where
No.
she
on the
was-
movie? This movie?
on this
Oh,
movie where all of a sudden they weren't
interesting.
speaking and she wouldn't say anything.
She wouldn't say why.
Mm-mm.
I was
Oh,
worried for
is
her
she
career.
creepy?
Yeah,
He already is creepy in the movie.
Or he was just a dickhead.
probably.
Which are sort of different things.
She had a nice way of saying basically like he's sober now and the father of 3 kids, so I'm sure he's fine. But that was like back in 2010.
Sure.
So
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Well, hey, we love Winona.
Yeah.
you think if Oldman shoplifted, his career would be over?
No.
No, his career's still going now, and
Yeah.
he's Yeah. Anyway.
I was really...
I'm sorry, we had to just take a break while we had to pick up the table off the floor.
Yeah, we got to put it back up. I was really respecting Winona Ryder when she's like full in the thrall of Dracula at the campfire and just like going bananas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about someone on a podcast said they talked to some actor. They were acting with some actor. This story's going to suck because there's no good details.
You don't remember anyone?
I don't remember anybody who's involved in the story.
Great.
But an actor of note, like a Kevin Bacon level or whatever.
Sure.
And they just turned to them and were like, acting's so embarrassing, isn't it? And I really think about that because like it is kind of like... even when you're doing it and it's like going well and you're in there, it's just like, this is weird. What are we doing?
Well, that's like I can't remember. This was another comedian on a podcast.
Yeah.
Great stories all around. Yeah. When that like audio leaked of Christian Bale like yelling at a dude on the Terminator set or whatever, like the guy kind of came to his defense. Like, just imagine that you are the one guy in a warehouse that you have to pretend to be a like soldier in the future, and there's like 200 other people just at their day job or standing around you. Like, you're probably going to be kind of on edge if some dude comes in and fucks it up for you.
Yeah.
It's very embarrassing.
Yeah. So I was just thinking about that while she's just like screaming and like wiggling.
Yeah.
And like she's doing
and there's
it.
no
like,
music, like all that music is added later,
Right,
so it's
like,
just like you can hear her like flapping around.
It's like
probably.
when they take the laugh tracks out of sitcoms. Like, imagine how awkward those must be in the moment that they're actually filming
and
it.
apparently Francis Ford Coppola is like one of those directors who likes to have people offset saying things to like help the actor get into their moment or whatever. And at one point he asked Oldman to say some stuff to Winona Ryder to like help her cry. Mm-hmm. And he asked not Oldman, he asked Keanu Reeves and Van Halen to do stuff, and they both refused.
Nice.
And I was like, that is great. I'm really like glad to hear that because that has always bothered me.
Yeah. Dan's take. Auteur theory sucks, and it created a bunch of assholes, and some of them killed people. Look up the Twilight Zone movie. Okay, bye.
Wait, what?
Whoa.
Don't worry about it.
I told you to look it up.
Yeah.
Did you?
I did.
Dan just said look it up.
Oh. But like
Check
during
the
a
tape?
movie, right? Because that's the only time I look up facts.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Watch a different movie and then be like, oh, I wonder what happened on the Twilight Zone movie.
Oh,
yeah.
Sounds sad.
It's rough.
Well, I probably won't. I probably will. Oh, it's awful.
Well.
We got a bunch of fun facts today.
Yeah, that's not, you know what? That fact does not sound fun, if I'm honest.
Can we go back to bat facts?
If you want.
I don't have any more.
Okay. I have one last comment from a fan.
Oh, okay,
great.
Oh, thank you.
From My Last Name's a Palindrome. I think the fact that Coppola tried for an all in-camera effects is impressive and cool.
Agreed.
I
Fair.
also agree.
Great point.
It looked cool.
Yeah.
Like, it was bananas, but it looked super cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Most of the time.
It was too much.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like I think about some of the early CGI I would watch, and I'm like, that's corny.
Right.
This like created a whole world where nothing was amiss because it was all so weird.
Yeah. Right.
Which, is that the reason for the old-timey film? Like, did that
Maybe.
just make you... Was that like the distraction that made everything else seem like... You know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, oh, these things don't go together. And then you put something that's like a gold-flavored banana.
Like, so aggressively
off
kilter.
kilter that you're like, you know what? The rest of it really held together.
Yeah, that's clever.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's a point where he's already disappeared after he was a bat that turned into rats. And there's just like this weird cut where the light shifts a little bit and he's like lying in bed next to Winona Ryder and then he's just gone. And that was super cool.
Yeah.
Good job, filmmakers. I guess good job, Roman Coppola, maybe? I don't know.
They also just cut a lot to him in dirt with like blood on his mouth, just reacting.
Yeah.
Also just cuts to like meat.
Mm-hmm.
That was
okay.
good.
That was.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I do want to say that meat armor that Dracula wears in the opening bit.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
It's great.
Yeah.
I like he was made out of red licorice.
Red licorice.
I really feel like people who did costumes had a blast on
Oh,
this
they
movie.
had to,
Oh, yeah.
right? Oh, her wedding gown?
The tire size? Okay. Oh, speaking of wedding gowns and that Romanian wedding, they have Winona Ryder drink wine through her veil?
Yeah. Was that a thing?
I don't know.
It would definitely stain the veil.
And then,
I would think everybody would have.
I mean, your veil's going to get stained that night, am I right?
Oh my gosh.
Do you think it's like a metaphor?
Yeah, it might be a metaphor, actually, yeah.
Yikes.
Like, I'm on board, but I don't get it.
In olden times, often the families would, in some parts of Europe at least, they would put the wedding linens out after the wedding night to show that the girl was a maiden.
Oh, sure. But the veil's upstairs.
Right, and Molly's saying maybe it was like
it's a metaphor for the stain.
The downstairs stain.
Yeah. The bedsheet stain.
Yeah.
I got it.
With the veil stain.
Yeah.
They're both red.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think about it.
And
Think about it.
So then
I don't know if you noticed, there was a theme of blood going through this whole movie.
What?
What? Were you trying to make a carpet matches the drapes joke?
He was.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's like upstairs, downstairs are the same.
No.
It's parallel.
No, that's like from the 70s. We got to let that one go.
Yeah, we don't do 70s jokes anymore, Dan.
Got to kick it up to the 90s,
All right.
baby. Tim Allen.
I'm glad we got Tim Allen in here.
Oh, what if Tim Allen had played Van Halen?
Wow.
That would have been great.
That would have been wild. He probably would have flashed Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
Look that up.
Wow. Fun fact. Plenty. Well, another thing that's fun is Coppola spoons.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Francis Ford Coppola's branded wine stirring soup. It's not soup.
What?
I guess you could stir
They're
soup. but-
super.
Yeah. Start over.
Let me take it again.
Yeah.
Beep. Oh, I got the copy in front of me.
Yeah.
Coppola spoons. Francis Ford Coppola. God damn it. Beep. Coppola spoons. Filmmaker Francis Ford Coppola's wine stirring spoon pairs.
Yes.
Yep.
Give the gift that everybody's clattering for, like a spoon,
Got it.
this holiday season.
Yes.
You got 2 glasses of wine, unstirred? Get a pair of silver spoons, monogrammed with Francis Ford Coppola's initials.
Nice. You got
And
one glass of wine that you really want to give a stir? Stick 2 spoons in that bad
You got a
boy.
vampire you want to kill?
You got a bonus spoon,
Hide a
baby.
spoon in a glass of wine. That is our rating scale, as we
Yeah,
all
of course.
know.
Yes.
Yep.
Coppola spoons.
Yeah.
Coppola spoon.
Coppola spoons.
Coppola spoons.
Mixing up the wine, it's a Coppola spoons.
Wow.
Doesn't matter if it's Pinot Noir or if it's the other kind of wine.
That's right. We cape for Pinot Noir on this
They got
podcast.
they got one of the Coppola cousins to write the jingle.
Clark Coppola up there. All right, Dan, you gave
Yes.
it 4. You thought it would be you would be perplexed by it.
Yes.
And it would be stupid.
Yes.
So that's why you only went as high as a 4.
Yeah, I mean, I was perplexed by it, but in like the best way. And it was the experience of watching this with Molly and Beth went exactly as I predicted it would,
Yeah.
which was a joy.
Yeah.
What a joy. Yeah, I don't know. I think I stand by what I said in the first half. Like, I don't think this is a good movie, but man, was it a movie. Like, it was a cinematic experience. I had a great time watching it in this environment. It is not necessarily a movie I'd watch every Halloween like our beloved producers, but I respect that. For Coppola spoons.
Wow.
Beth, you gave it 3.5, thinking it would win on being bonkers.
Yeah, it was bonkers. I think I watched the whole thing with like a look of disgust on my face.
Can confirm.
Yeah, I just really did not like it. Like it was creeping me out the whole time. It was a little bit too like, ooh, what's happening? And there's so much chaos. So I want to give it a 1, but I'm gonna add another spoon because you need a pair first of all, but also
Each point is a pair.
oh god, there's
Yeah.
too many spoons.
Just like the movie.
Yes, too many spoons. That's a rating. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna cut that out. Beep. So, yeah, I think I'm going to add another set of spoons, because I did think that some of the effects were cool. Like, I thought that shadow thing was cool. I don't know how they did that, but very interesting idea. I thought there was just too many ideas, and I would have liked them to kind of pare them down a bit. So 2 Coppola spoons.
Great.
Coppola spoons.
Coppola spoons.
Everybody.
It's for Pinot Noir
Or the other
kind of wine.
Wait, is it kind or kinds? Does it only accept that there's one other kind of wine?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Pinot Noir and there's white.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Love it. All right. I gave it 5. Thinking it would be a messy 90s Dracula movie.
Boy, howdy.
And boy, was it. You know, I loved it.
Yeah.
For a 2 hour, and I was worried that the length would bring it down. But for a 2 hour and 7 minute movie, I was engaged the entire time.
Wow.
Because I was surprised. And I think the 5 can come for me from a very good film that is made well.
Mm-hmm.
This is not that. But it could also come from being surprised and delighted.
Right.
And this definitely did that. So I'm going to stick with 5. It's such a mess. There's so much happening, and everybody goes so hard.
Yes.
I loved it.
A beautiful mess.
Yeah, 5. Molly.
Yes.
There is no spoon was the main thing I wrote.
Yes.
You gave it 4.5, up from 3.5, out of respect for our.
Yes.
Molly was like,
Executive
why?
I did?
I did. And before I begin, as usual, I would like to cram in the things I forgot to say. And one of them is Sofia Coppola was married to director Spike Jonze.
Okay.
Okay.
They dated for a long time, and they were married for about 3 or 4 years. Learned a lot about Spike Jonze. I'm feeling more ambivalent about him than I was before I knew stuff.
Great.
But that's fine. But I love Sofia Coppola. And did you know she's married to the lead singer of
Van
Phoenix?
Halen? Oh, I did not know.
I did not.
Yeah. He's French.
Okay.
That I knew.
That I knew, yes.
I'm just saying. I think she's doing great.
Sounds
I
like
don't know
it.
anything about her.
She makes movies that people generally like.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
gets to do stuff. Anyway, great. Good on you.
Okay.
And thank you, Molly Chase, for being right in the
How
first
many spoons
half.
for Sofia Coppola?
Oh, she gets like 5.
Okay.
Wow.
But she has nothing to do with this movie. So
She might
this,
have been on set sometimes.
I mean, it helps. But listen, what helps even more is that Catherine, our executive producer,
Yes.
loves this movie. And I can see why she and Josh would watch it every year, because there's got to be something new that you see.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a really
Yeah.
good point.
That is a good
And I
point.
mean, the amount of time I looked away, like just filling that in would be a lot.
Yeah, this might be a record, a Totes Recall record of Molly having looked down and then looked up and said, wait, what is happening?
Yeah.
And I mean, I wasn't looking down for that long
No.
sometimes,
No.
but you would just be like in a different country.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like story stuff. It was
Yeah.
just like visually you were confounded by what was on screen.
It was very confusing. I mean, honestly, the image that I think will stick with my mind forever is the wolf
Yeah.
petting, which was so weird.
Oh, yes.
It was just very disconcerting. Anyway, hey, everybody. This is Molly. I go fourth.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
Just to elaborate more on the experience, the record of Molly watching this movie. I think every time it would just have a random shot of Gary Oldman in some form, right? Like whether he was a bat guy, whether he was a beast wolf man, whether he was just like doing a weird 18th century Pennywise the Clown thing in the ground. Yeah. Every time Molly would go, wait, who's that? Which, in her defense, Gary Oldman has like 18 different looks in this movie.
Yeah, he really does.
And some of them are not human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really fair. And it's so true. I did do that. I don't know. I mean, I did not enjoy watching this movie, except that I watched it with y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I would normally give it like 2 Coppola spoons max.
Mm-hmm.
But because this is executive produced by someone who really likes this movie enough to watch it every year, out of respect.
I think she said enough.
Oh, I think you said have to watch.
I also thought that at first, but I was like, no, there's no way she said that. Is there?
I'm going to give it 3.5.
Wow.
No, 2.5. 2 Coppola spoons and a whoa, there's no spoon. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
And thank you, Catherine Kepsel,
Yeah.
for making us watch this movie.
Yeah.
And
No.
specifically making Molly and Beth watch this movie.
Yeah, I peek behind my curtain.
Ooh.
Whenever we plan movies, I think about suggesting this one because I think it would be fun, but I know it's too long and already a mess, so this is kind of the only way that we would watch it.
Did you ask for this movie?
No.
You didn't coordinate in any way?
Not in any way.
You didn't just send a GIF or something and be like, oh, which movie would you?
Once someone buys the Frisco Kid, you'll know. I've been working behind someone else's curtain.
What?
Oh
What?
my
Wait a minute.
gosh.
Wait.
Oh, remember when they smooch and there's just peacock feathers for no reason?
Oh,
yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And I guess because the eyes of the peacock feathers
Like
Well,
faded
peacocks are
into.
or
fancy.
just that
Sorry.
it's like a penis. What?
What? No, I don't know. That's
Yeah,
not what I
Molly.
thought.
No, that's great.
What's like a penis?
Yeah, which part?
Which part is the penis?
I'm not seeing it. I don't know.
Just every part of this movie.
I mean, I guess you could argue that the peacock feathers are also representing horniness because
Well,
that's
why
like
do we
their
call them
sexual
cocks?
display. What?
Wow.
Because they're the male version of that species.
there's
I'm pretty sure
peacocks
that's why
and
we call
peahens.
penises cocks. I think it comes from the bird.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like, is
What?
a rooster?
It's a representation.
But we don't see
No,
the bird.
it's
We just
'cause
see the feathers.
Well, do we need to see the whole bird?
I mean, apparently we do because I did not pick up on that at all.
it is sexual.
Well, I agree.
Sure.
It's sexual.
Yeah,
Every
peacocks
frame
are
of this
sexy.
movie is sexual.
We all know peacocks
The
are sexy.
position of this podcast is that peacocks are the sexiest bird in the animal kingdom.
I mean, they
the
are
sexiest.
flaunting it.
They
We
are.
need more flaccid peacock feathers.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
You know,
Yes.
I will tell you a peek behind the curtain of my house
Okay.
Wow.
that every time there is any kind of flaccid penis on the TV screen,
Yeah.
Okay.
there's a lot happening right now on HBO
Sure.
and on Apple TV shows. It's just happening more and more.
They got my letters.
My husband will tell you every single time that I go, Dan Linden would be so happy to see this.
And I would.
And we all would.
Yeah.
It's the stance of
that's
the
right. I
entire
forgot. The stage
podcast.
of the podcast is more dong on screen.
Screen.
Not of the
Flaccid dong.
It's not
To be
that-
clear, flaccid dong. It's classy. It's flaccid dong.
Yeah.
We're not trying to be
Flaccid.
lascivious.
Classed.
Whoa. Love it.
Lake Placid.
Yep, that's a thing.
Should we watch that?
Yeah.
No.
I really quick just thought of a moment. There's 2 moments in this movie that I want as gifts to just save
Sure.
forever.
Mm-hmm.
One is when Dracula dies and he is the thing he does is he just tips his head back and he does something with his eyes and then his nose flares and that's how you know he's dead.
Right.
I want that.
So good.
But the one I really want is Winona Ryder looking out of
Yes.
her binoculars, and then instead of putting the binoculars down, she just raises them above her
Isn't that
head.
all-
The last quote I wrote down of the things that the cast of Totes Recall said while watching this movie was Dan Jaquette saying, "Who goes up?"
Yeah.
It was very confusing.
It blew my mind.
It was.
You don't do that. You're done with the binoculars. You rotate them down.
Binoculars.
Pardon?
Binoculars?
There you go.
What did I say?
Binoculars.
Binoculars.
Who cares?
Molly.
Well, it's
Oh.
a fun
Well,
thing
Molly
to point
thinks
out.
birds are penises.
Totes Recall is hosted by Molly Chase, Beth Gibbs, Dan Jaquette, and Dan Linden. Produced by Beth Gibbs. New episodes of Totes Recall drop on the 15th of every month. For more information and bonus content, visit us at totesrecall.com. Thank you so much for listening.